Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Down the Line podcast. Everyone watching or listening, help give me a round of applause. Ethan, welcome back. Show some love, everyone. Welcome back,
Thanks.
Ethan.
Thanks. I survived,
You
thankfully.
survived. You survived. The everyone. Listen, it's hitting everyone these days. I was
Yeah.
I was sick as fuck during the World Series. I can't even lie. I was getting my ass beat.
Oh, so was I, but for a different reason.
I was. I listen for both reasons. For me, but
I can't even lie. Like I'm like up at night. It's like I'm replaying the events of Game 7. Like I have legitimate PTSD from it.
I I will literally just like go to the bathroom or like something. I'll go to brush my teeth. I'll look in the mirror and I'll just be like, "Yo, they were 2 outs away. 2 outs. That's all they needed. In
Yeah.
theory, two pitches." But listen,
And I remember after it, I was saying like I'm never gonna, yeah, I'm like never gonna recover. Which maybe not. But like I was also saying, I was also saying stuff like I can't even get excited for the next season. I can't, you know, even, be in it mentally. But right now, I'm getting more excited
we're
as this
there.
free agency, as the rumors come out talking about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's a chance that.
Chance that this happens, and with every team, like honestly, it's exciting hearing all the stuff that like could happen or may not or
Yeah.
what have you. Right? There's a bunch of stuff that's flying around. Obviously, at the end of that season, it was tough, and I don't blame you. I was watching the game. We were in call. It was me, Justin, Nick. Trey was in there for a bit. Godley was in there for a bit, and Ollie kind of hopped in and out. I will be totally free with you. When that game ended, I just put my headphones down. I didn't say anything. I just went. I sat in my bathroom for like 30 minutes and just stared into the abyss. So, it is what it is. I didn't even say nothing, and I come back and I'm the only one to call. But anyways,
Right when it ended, I literally just right when I saw it, like Freddy run, like, and the camera cut, the TV went off. I just went in bed, lay down in the dark for like 6 hours.
I was not. Yeah, exactly. It was not a thing I was trying to see.
Uh,
But we have some things to talk about today. So this is not the first downline episode of the off season. That was last week, but mine and Ethan's first of the off season. We do have some things to talk about before we get into the main meat of the episode. The first one, Class A and Ortiz, man. Whew, those two. We talked about this when the news dropped, like right around then. Um, when they got hit with the investigation, they got indicted. Um, both of them, they got indicted. I think Class A got arrested this morning. He got arrested at the airport, I think it was. Yeah, he arrived at JFK Airport this morning and then was arrested by FBI agents. Whew. This is
yeah,
deep.
I mean,
This is deep because, like, we remember there's been like alleged details that have dropped, and I do say alleged because listen, nothing has been proven in court, so
it's an investigation.
it is an investigation.
We
We
don't
do not know
fully
these
know yet.
things. But did you see the tweets where people were saying Andy Pies costed a Class A like 100,000?
Yeah,
Did you see? It was them and Volpe. Those tweets were flying around. I was trying not to laugh, but okay, try not to laugh. I was laughing. I thought those were hilarious, but um, it was like alleged that Luis Ortiz actually got caught up in it like right before they caught everyone. So listen, tough break for Ortiz, but listen, how stupid do you have to be to do this as a professional athlete? Like, especially in the case of Class A, you are in line to probably you're gonna make over $100 million in your career. He has a pretty nice deal over there in Cleveland that he's gonna
yeah,
net a good amount of money, and
that's a lot of money you could put on like a blackjack hand if you're him.
he in theory would have made 6.4 million in 2026, and then he had club options for 27 and 28 for 10 million a pop. If he
Yeah,
continues to pitch the way he's been pitching last couple of years, those probably get picked
I
up, whether
mean,
it's by Cleveland or some other team. How do you like? What are you doing, bro?
he could have been in line for one of the biggest contracts we've ever seen for a relief pitcher.
Honestly, probably because if he, let's even assume that he doesn't hit free agency until after 2028, he can probably top that Edwin Diaz deal. That was from a couple
Yeah,
years ago. He
that's
probably
the
tops
thing.
it.
I mean, his 2024 season was unbelievable. One of the best seasons ever from a relief pitcher.
And even the
Um,
way he pitched later into the year, because like he started off the year pretty poorly, and then he got it back
yeah,
together. The way he
yeah,
got it back, he would have been good. That would have been easy and tough. Man, you know what else is funny?
What's that?
The Cleveland Guardians basically traded Andres Jimenez and Nick Sandlin for a gambling investigation. That is, that is what that trade equaled out to. Because they instantly traded Horowitz, bro. Yeah, listen.
But they got out of the Jimenez contract, so
they
maybe
did.
it's addition by subtraction.
They did, so it might be for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This situation, it went from really, like, kind of weird, and then it got crazy really quick when the news dropped they both got indicted, so we will wait to see what happens on that, but...
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in sports where guys are gambling, and it's never usually, I'm not... Luis Ortiz would fall into the category, but it's usually not, like, the high-profile players. Like, I remember in the NBA, it was, like, Jonte Porter. Like, that's not a guy that a casual fan would know, aside from the allegations. So, it's rare to see a guy who's literally a top 3 relief pitcher in baseball have that happen to. And it's just, it really makes you think, because he's making millions of dollars, and he's going to sign a new contract. Well, he was going to. He's not, like, if he didn't do this, would have signed a huge contract worth probably over $100 million, you gotta think.
Probably.
And...
Or if not, it would have came close.
What more do you need? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is where it becomes more than just about money, because it's an addiction at the end of the day.
It is.
And it's so... If you ever watch a game, any sporting event, you'll see they're talking pregame. It's like, oh, here's the same game parlay you should play. And the panel's talking about it. Throughout the game, they're showing the odds. And it's become like an epidemic around sports where everything is gambling related. And it gets to a point where you just got to take a step back and say, all right, we got to chill. We can't be advertising it as much. Yes, at the end of the day, you should hope that your professional players are responsible enough to not do it. But when it's all you're surrounded with, I can see how it may be on their mind.
I think both things can be true in the sense that, like, it is absolutely on the players, regardless of how it's, like, marketed or integrated into the sports world. But it is also, and I very much agree with you, in the sense, like, the way that it's pushed by a lot of the major, like, for example, like, the networks. Like, we watch Sportsnet, and they have, their thing, like, every so often. And, like, you see all of these big, there's, like, accounts that are specifically dedicated to sports betting. And, like, the best odds for this parlay and this and that. And honestly, I think the amount and, like, in the way it's getting pushed, it's, like, you can argue it's kind of predatory to an extent.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, they're exploiting. I mean, they know how addictive it is. They know, lives, like, gambling is something that ruins lives. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I don't gamble, because I do. But there's a difference between gambling, $10-20 a day versus $1,000 parlays every night.
And also with what you have on the line as well. Like, in the case of someone like Clase, like, literally his entire career is on the line. And you have to know that when you're getting into it. Obviously, he knows that. And it's still a stupid risk at the end of the day, because it's not a matter of if you're going to get caught. It's a matter of when. Because we see all of these different cases that blow up. Whether it's not even just with this, like PEDs too. Like, you see all these things, right? And these players, they know the risks.
I mean, that's why they're capping it because at 200 for those as of right now, which I think is good, because you're not going to be doing it. Like, a player isn't going to be doing all that for a $200 bet. First of all, second of all, obviously major red flags are being drawn if I'm a sports book and I see that somebody placed a $50,000 bet that a first pitch is going to be a ball. Obviously, that's going to raise some eyebrows. I mean, that's not something that just goes undetected. But yeah, I mean, my biggest rule of thumb when gambling is don't gamble what you can't afford to lose. So obviously in this case with the players, it's not a matter of them, that's not the issue. But
it's not a matter of them losing the money. It's a matter of them losing their literal career.
That's the thing. I mean, this is something that you need to be a certain age to do. I'm not comparing it to drugs, but in the sense of same thing with alcohol, with cigarettes, and then, like, weed, for example. You need to be 19 here. And the fact that gambling, you also need to be 19 tells me that this is something that's, obviously addictive and obviously potentially harmful.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it gets promoted so much every game, like you can't watch a sporting event without them talking about betting. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere.
They'll
Like
always have those
Sportsnet,
segments where they go
yeah,
and they have their guy
Sportsnet
say,
in
"Oh, these
between
are our picks."
innings, they'll have Sportsnet in between innings. They'll have Jamie Campbell talking. They'll show the live odds for a game and be like, "Oh, you can get those odds on Bet365."
And even
Uh,
I find a lot of times, even when they're not talking about like the betting stuff and they're just talking about the game, they throw the graphic up and the odds are all like the Vegas odds are on there, or maybe not Vegas odds, but
yeah,
like whatever betting odds are right there when they show the score of whatever other game.
yeah.
Even when they're
Like you
not directly
watch,
talking about it,
like
like it's
you
always
watch
there.
TSN is really like they do that a lot. Like before an NBA game or NHL game, they talk on the panel and they give like the panel gives like their parlay of the day or whatever for the game and stuff. And it's like, it's just you're promoting people to
Mm-hmm.
gamble. Which if someone wants to gamble, it should be on their own merit. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be pressuring people to do it on a broadcast, especially when you're just trying to watch the sport. Because I guarantee you, the average fan is watching the game to watch the game.
Yeah, I'm not turning on like
I'm not turning on a Leafs game to see what Mike Johnson, literally, his part. Like, no offense to him, I love him as a commentator, but no one's tuning in just to hear his parlay to place.
Mhm.
That's what I'll say.
And the problem, like, it can't just be solved with like, oh, let's make sports betting illegal again, right? Because
Yeah.
people are gonna find a way to do it. They're gonna find those.
The thing is, if you make it illegal, it becomes even more dangerous because then you're gonna have to go through third parties like bookies, and that could lead to whole like,
Exactly, those dark alley
people get
bookies.
killed. People get killed over it. Genuinely,
And exactly
there's
right.
rumors about people who, athletes. I'm not gonna name names, but of athletes who have had family members taken out because of their own gambling problems,
Yeah,
and it's just you don't stuff like that's just gonna happen more if you ban it. You can't ban it, but I think the best thing you can do at this point is limiting what you can bet on and how much. I don't know if you should be able to bet on the velocity of a pitch or a ball or strike on a certain pitch. Something like that might be a bit much. I'm not going to say take out everything. You should be able to still, bet on sports,
mm-hmm.
but definitely cool it with how much you're promoting it and maybe just kind of limit what people can bet or how much they can bet on certain things. But this is a very tricky thing. This isn't just an easy fix that they can just snap their fingers. Everything's
Exactly.
magically okay.
And that's
This is an addiction
and
at the end
that's
of the
what
day as
makes
well.
that's what makes it like a really like weird thing is because like you remember like obviously we know the steroid era of baseball, right? It got to the point where MLB got pressured like, hey, listen, you gotta do something about this, and they did the PE
Yeah.
test, and all of a sudden guys are getting tested, suspended, whatever, right? It's simply
Yeah.
not that simple. You can't like test a guy for if he's gambling unless you're gonna. What are you gonna have him do like the lie detector thing before every game? Like no, like you're not gonna do that. Like that's not a sort of thing. But I think that what one of the things that they should do. I don't have a perfect solution to the problem. I'm not an expert in this degree or in this kind of thing, so I would not know the exact steps to take. But I do think that one of the big things that they need to do is they need to either scale back in the way that they promote it or completely like revamp it in some way so that it is not as forceful, it's not as predatory. And I'm not throwing that word around lightly. I do think that the way that a lot, not just baseball, by the way, like a lot of major sports, they promote sports betting and gambling. I think it's legitimately predatory. And I cannot say that I am surprised that we have cases like this, or like the one in basketball with Jonte Porter and Terry Rozier was caught up in it for a bit. I can't say that I'm surprised we have cases like this when this is how the own leagues are handling it. Now, again, like I said, both things are true where that can be true, and also like the players are kind of idiots for doing this because you're going to get caught one way or another. But it's a big thing.
And another thing that I find ridiculous that also needs to be talked about that I think not a lot of people are talking about. So why is the punishment for gambling more severe than if you were to like beat your wife, for example?
That what? I didn't even think of that. Actually, I think I saw it on Twitter and I kind of forgot about it. That is very true.
I mean,
They don't.
Look,
They don't take
like
those things seriously enough.
Emmanuel Clase is never pitching again in the major leagues.
Probably,
Aroldis Chapman
probably
beat
not.
his wife and used a gun to threaten her and only got 30 games.
Mm-hmm.
A guy in the NHL got a domestic abuse allegation on, or not obviously it was a charge at the time. I don't even think he got suspended at all. But then, because it got dropped, but beforehand, he didn't get suspended at all. He was playing through it. And a guy who was using his friend to place bets on something that wasn't even hockey got 41 games. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be suspended, but I would say it's objectively worse to beat your wife or something than it is to bet on something that's not even your own game.
Although I will say, I guess in the case of baseball, I'm thinking more so. They showed, now again, legally speaking, we cannot say whether or not this man was guilty. But a certain former Cleveland pitcher, former Cincinnati Red,
Yes.
former Dodger pitcher, you know who I'm talking about, we don't have to say his name.
Yes.
They dropped the fucking hammer on him.
200 or 324
it was like,
games.
It was like 2 seasons worth of games. Like they said,
I'm not
we're
gonna
not
say,
fucking
I'm not
around.
gonna say that's not. I'm not gonna say that's not deserved because obviously, but just the fact that it's just the fact that like a lot of the times, not in that case, you get a harder punishment for gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. The player we're talking... I don't want to name a name just because, first of all, technically it's not... I don't think it's confirmed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's obviously speculated. But the thing is, he wasn't banned from the league. Whereas Class A is going to be.
Yeah, he most likely will,
The reason why this player isn't in the league at this point isn't because he's still suspended, it's because a team doesn't want to sign him, which is a different thing. The point is, if a team wanted him, he would be allowed to play.
Yeah.
Whereas if Class A wanted to play next season, he wouldn't be able to.
Probably not, yeah. You're probably right.
Or this season. Like, it's just... I would argue what this player did is worse than what Class A did,
yeah.
But, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I do like how I personally think it shows that, at least baseball, I don't know if there's other cases that are comparable in like hockey or football. I can't really think of any in basketball. But like I do like that it shows that they are very obviously taking this more seriously than they had before, because like you said, the Earl Chapman, like 30 games, like people were getting like at most half a season back around when that stuff was happening. And now you see this now 2 seasons worth of games, and then obviously there's all the PR stuff that comes with other teams, all that stuff. But I do like how it shows that. I personally think it seems they're taking it more seriously, which is good, which is great, in my opinion. You just hope that they continue to take these things seriously enough.
Yeah, the one thing as well is that in NFL, you see suspensions for gambling. It's typically, I want to say it's 4 games or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
or that might have been for PEDs. I'm not sure exactly the suspension. But it's obviously it's not a full season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a player who still plays in the league that got suspended a grand total of 0 games, and do you know what he did?
What?
He broke his kid's arm intentionally.
Excuse me?
Hit him.
He broke... Oh my god.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Like, there was also one where a player used a stick to hit their kid, and he I think it was 6 games. But yeah, it's just it's really going to show that if you beat your kid, that's that you're getting punished. most of the time. But if you gamble, you're getting the hammer.
Yeah, they take their like integrity of the league stuff more seriously than like genuine like human stuff.
Which at the end of the day, some things are just more than sports.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to my next point, which is unrelated to the gambling. Speaking of things that are more than sports, what's been going on with Alex Vesia? Absolutely heartbreaking. It is amazing to see the support that they've gotten from that the Dodgers and Blue Jays fan bases have given to each other. I saw Blue Jays fans pouring in the donations to the Vesia's foundation, and then I saw what?
A couple pitchers had 51 on the cap.
Oh too. Yeah, but so many Jays fans were donating throughout the World Series, and after the stuff came out, and like the donations poured in, Dodgers fans returned the favor by donating to sick kids in Toronto. Just absolutely incredible, and that's when things are bigger than sports. I couldn't imagine going through what Vesia is going through.
Yeah, no, so that's like one of the worst things that you possibly could
so
go
obviously my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family during this time.
Absolutely.
But it is amazing to see that even in the middle of a heated World Series, the fans can put aside the I guess I don't want to say rivalry, but put aside the bad blood temporarily, and show what really matters.
We have more important things.
It's great to see. It's great to
that
see
petty stuff.
And I hope that they can hopefully find peace during this time, because obviously I'm not even going to pretend to imagine what he's going through, because it's indescribable. So I obviously hope everything is going a bit better now, but it is awesome to see both sides donating to each other's foundations. It's really great to see that people care about these kinds of foundations, and even though it's at the end of the day, even though it's just donations, it's what it means, it's what it represents.
Absolutely. No, you could not have said it better. So we have I want to bring up another thing really quick. We're gonna shift topics a little bit before we get to the main thing. These are the only two topics I had in mind, unless you want to bring up something else after. Did you see the Bryce Harper news from a couple days ago?
Yes, I did. That is insane to me.
When I read that, I was like, what the fuck?
I thought that was like a fake account trying to bait, interaction bait. No, so that is just absolutely crazy.
That's how people end up in a ditch. Is fucking wild.
So for those of you who didn't see it, what happened was earlier in the season, Manfred was in the clubhouse. I forget what the conversation was. Do you remember?
I think it was something around a salary cap. I don't remember
exactly what it was, but
that's what it was. It was based around that. I think they
were talking about the salary cap or whatever, but this is before a game or whatever, so Harper just said, get the fuck out of the clubhouse, which, I'm not going to say that, probably the wording you should say to the commissioner, but at the end of the day,
don't care.
Deserved.
King.
I mean, King. You're doing this in the middle of a fucking season. You're not going up into a clubhouse while the players trying to prepare for their game and say, hey, what are your guys' thoughts? You let the players do what they want.
In the middle of a playoff race, too, because I'm pretty sure it's happened in August, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But then someone high up in Major League Baseball telling Harper, that's how people end up in a ditch. That's not only is it unprofessional, that's a threat. That's illegal.
That is wild. That's
illegal.
Unspeakable degree of wild. Literally threaten, hey, that's how people die. What the fuck? It's one thing if, they would have threatened him with, a suspension or something for,
that's how people end up, on the fucking restricted list.
That is one thing. Saying that's how people end up dead is, that's wild. Holy shit. Listen, we gotta figure out, I don't think we know who said this. We gotta figure out who the fuck said this. That motherfucker needs to be out of the damn commissioner's office yesterday. Days before.
I mean, if Harper wanted to sue Major League Baseball, he'd have a very damn good case.
Yeah. Absolutely he fucking would, bro.
I mean, this is something that's literally, punishable via jail time.
Yeah, literally.
I'm pretty sure that you could get up to 1 year in jail for threatening to kill.
Probably.
So,
I don't know exactly what the law
you
is over
know,
there, but probably you're right.
but like, yeah, I mean, I really just don't understand how that's acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And whoever that was should be ashamed, and they should be outed for this because that's just actually disgusting.
I think this might be the single most like jaw-dropping piece of like sports-related news that I've
Yes.
ever seen in my life. Like this
Yes.
is mafia stuff. This is mob
Yeah.
shit. This is stuff that like
If Harper goes missing one day, then everyone's just gonna think that it was Major League Baseball, and can you
right,
blame them?
right. I wouldn't blame anyone for thinking that. This is the type of stuff that you would expect like a mafia boss to say to somebody if they're like, you know, they do something a little bit sketchy, and it's like, yo, that's how people end up in a ditch, and it's like, you know, very obviously threatening to. You wouldn't expect this from a fucking pro sports league.
The difference is this isn't the Godfather.
This is not the Godfather. This is
Baseball.
not the Sopranos. This is none of that shit. This is Major League
This is
fucking
Major
baseball.
League Baseball.
Like what the fuck?
I'm excited for MLB The Show 26 and the Road to the Show story where Rob Manfred sends his guys on you. You're in your hotel room or whatever preparing for a big road trip in September. And you see the black vans pull up out the window.
Before every single game, there's a 1 in a billion chance that you get a cutscene of the black SUVs pulling up to your house in pitch black, and you have to do some QTEs to defend them off.
What if there's like what if there's a way where you can pull out your phone and start gambling, and then you throw your games and win money?
Wait, hold on.
You get stubbed. Oh my god! Hey, if you throw this game, I'll give you 100,000 stubs.
Yo, SDS, you might have to hire this guy. You have to hire this guy. Get him in your department.
I got some great business.
I think he's got ideas. He's definitely got ideas here.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to get into the main meat of the episode, Ethan?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, it is that time of the off season. No one has signed yet, but free agency has started.
It usually starts slow though.
It always does. Like, this is nothing new for baseball. Of course, this is as expected. I remember I was on a ski trip in like February when Bryce Harper signed his deal. Like, I remember all that.
And
I remember
who's the biggest name that signed? Austin Hedges.
Fuck! I didn't even realize he signed already.
Well, like he re-signed with Cleveland.
Oh, true. Yeah.
For $4 million.
Like fucking like Randy Dobnak
Like
signing a minor league deal with the Mariners. Like, I don't know. Like that's the kind of offseason it is, and this is nothing new. On one hand, I do gotta say I really like that it's more like this as opposed to everybody signs day one and the rest of the offseason is dead. There's always something to talk about in the offseason, which is fun.
That's the thing with baseball. It's because you'll have guys sign in waves. It's not going to be like NHL, for example. All like the top free agents are gone by the end of like the second day. Most of the good ones usually by end of day one. Like I remember when Tavares signed with the Leafs back in back when he originally signed with the Leafs. He signed it was back in 2018, it was like a hour after free agency opened, and that there was the best player off the board already.
I remember
they say free agency opens, but the players are talking to their
they're already talking, they're already tampering, and I feel like honestly those leagues kind of know that. Do you remember when Kawhi Leonard was a free agent, and would it take him like 5 days to sign, and it was kind of insane? Because because everyone else is gone in like the first hour.
To be completely fair, that's how long it probably took Steve Ballmer to make his tree planting company. But that's neither here nor there.
You're probably right. Man. But yeah, so we have a lot of free agents here. We have, give or take, I think there's 50 free agents on each of our boards, and we got some trade candidates too. We have some predictions. We are going to attempt to predict where the major guys are going to end up. We have, 50 or so free agents, and then we have, give or take, 20 or so trade candidates. So we're going to try and predict where a lot of these guys are going to go. Ethan, you ready to start?
I'm ready.
Let's start with the top name on the board, undeniably the best player in free agency. By the way, guys, we're going to go free agency and then we're going to go trade. Guys, so we're going to start with undeniably the best player in free agency, Kyle Tucker. I'll say my prediction first. The team. I got the San Francisco Giants. They've been swinging at top free agents like each of the last couple off seasons. They've kind of struck out on most
All
guys.
in on Judge, on Correa.
Yep. Arson Judge, shout out. They've been in on a lot of guys. They've gotten guys here and there. Like they got Matt Chapman. They got Blake Snell on that really weird deal. And then obviously he ended up leaving. But they haven't landed like that top guy.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think it checks out. When you look at it, the fact that it was said that the top 3 teams were the Jays, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and then obviously the exception, or not the exception, but a team that could be in the hunt with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Giants do make the most sense there. I'll have to agree with that because we'll get more about the other players, and I'll tell why. But
yeah, the Yankees make a lot of sense from 2. The Dodgers, of course. The Yankees, I have a reason why I don't really think it adds up, but I'm going to get to that.
Same.
And a couple players from now, I think we have the same idea.
Okay,
But yeah, I do not think that them getting Devers is going to take them out of this race, namely because they've been mentioned with a lot of the top pitchers as well. They have been obviously mentioned with Tucker, but I think them being mentioned with the pitchers alone shows that they are willing to spend still. And them taking on that Devers deal, I don't remember, did they take on the entire deal, or was it just like a majority of it? I don't remember the exact.
I think they took on the entire deal.
Was it the entire thing? Okay, I couldn't remember if it was the entire deal, if it was like 90% or something. But regardless, it's not going to take them out, nor should it. Like, Kyle Tucker is an insane player. I've seen a couple tweets saying that beyond $300 million, his market isn't going to be too high, and I kind of doubt, or like, not too many like guys or teams in his market. And I guess like, you know, certain teams don't want to spend that much, but like, this, in a lot of ways, feels like a down year for Kyle Tucker. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And he was a 4.5 win player, and he was like playing through a fractured thing, like however long, and he still almost put up a 5-win season. Like he's just that guy. I saw.
That's the thing. I mean, if that's considered a year where he's not at his best and he's still putting up a 136 WRC plus, I mean, it's only up from there for what that bat can do.
Exactly, and this feels like kind of like where the floor is.
Yes.
Before his like big year in 2024, where obviously he missed like half the year.
Do I think he's a 179 WRC plus bat? No, I don't. But
He can very easily be a 150.
I think he's 150.
150, 160. He can totally get between there a couple times. He was a pretty consistent 5-win player from 21 to 23, and then he showed that he can be higher than that. And again, like. Yeah, the start of the year was insane for him too.
Aside from this year, it's a guy who will hit 30 plus home runs. Mm-hmm. He hit 23 in 78 games last year. Down year from the power front, but again, we established that it was a down year. So
we did, and also he was
the only time in his career he had an ISO under 200, and we could expect that to jump up significantly next year. Back playing up to through like a 220s, 230s.
He had a fractured hand, I think it was, or something he was playing through. Something like that. That'll happen.
Yeah.
What's your team you got for Tucker?
I agree with the Giants.
You got that Giants too?
Yeah.
My figure I have for Tucker.
I want to group next.
My figure I have for Tucker, though, I don't know if you have a figure for him. I haven't looked at your board, by the way, like since like you started the first 5. But my figure for Tucker, I got 11 years, $412.5 million. That's 37.5 a year. I don't think he's quite gonna break 40.
I had around 30, like 38 over. I didn't have an exact year, but if I had to guess, I'd say about 38, maybe over 10 years. But.
Yeah. So, he's obviously going to get the years. He's below 30. He's an undeniably elite player. This is just how free agency goes. That's what I got for him. So, 11, 4, 12, 4, 5 to the Giants.
I want to talk about 2 players here instead of one, like group 2 together, because I think you have the same thing as me in terms of that. I was talking with someone like the other night about their team, and I was thinking, like, you know what just makes so much sense? A Bregman and Alonso swap, where Alonso goes to Boston and Bregman goes to the Mets. That's what I was thinking, and I know you put the same thing.
You know,
and I just really think the more I think about it, the more that just makes sense.
You know what's hilarious? I didn't even clock that when I put it in. I didn't even clock that I was swapping them.
I mean, that's what I was saying. That's the conversation I was having, because, like, Pete Alonso, I feel like if he was going to be a Met past this year, the contract he signed would have been a longer-term deal. It wouldn't have been, you know, the 1 or 2 years with the opt-out, whatever it was. And Bregman, obviously, that seemed like a rental with Boston. I didn't think at any point he was going to re-sign, even though there are rumors that they wanted to bring him back. And even with what Boris was saying, it's just, I don't see it. The Mets are going to need a bat to replace him. I don't think they're even going after Tucker because they don't really need to go after the outfielder. Um, I can't see them going after other guys like a Schwarber, a Bellinger. So I really do think that the best bat that they'd go after that I think they would get would be Bregman. And Boston, they need a guy to fill the spot that they lost with Devers that we were talking about, that being their biggest hole in the lineup, not having a guy like that. Pete Alonso is probably the closest thing to that in this free agent class.
Yeah. Yeah, for Bregman, yeah, I think the Mets make the most sense. There's other teams that are in on him as well. I think he fits incredibly well on the Mariners too.
I think so too. I just don't think the Mariners
I
are
don't
going to
think
sell that.
I don't think they're going to dish out that money. Although I will say, I've seen a few of you Mariners fans on Twitter clamoring for Alex Bregman to come to your team. I need you to keep the energy. Respectfully, I need you to keep the energy. I don't come on this pod to pick fights, but listen, y'all got to keep that energy. Because where's the energy? Ethan, you know exactly what I'm talking about here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were crying about, Springer's a cheater. Springer's a cheater. We don't want cheaters on our team. Hey, we want Bregman. We want Bregman. Where's the fucking shame?
Do not ask what Jorge Polanco got suspended for in 2018. Do not ask. Do not ask. Do not look it up. Do not look up Jorge Polanco's suspension. My phone exploded. Anyways, yeah, I think that Bregman to the Mets just makes a lot of sense. Cohen is relentless in getting talent. I'm not sure if you've looked fully at my board. I have the Mets having like a super big fucking offseason.
Yeah.
They probably have a fire lit right underneath them because they missed the playoffs after spending the GDP of a small country. Even regardless of that, Cohen is an absolute madman. He will do whatever it takes to get the talent. I think Bregman fits incredibly well on that roster. They've had questions about Mark Vientos. Like, he was obviously great in 24, but then kind of down year this year. If you get Bregman, boom, you have I think you have a higher floor player and higher ceiling player there. Worst case scenario, you can even plug Vientos. I saw that too, actually. Nick would not be happy if that happened, but
yeah, that would open up some money and a potential spot to kind of fill in a more, I guess a platoon guy. Like, obviously, I'm not saying a guy like Bregman will be a platoon, but I'm saying like that could also open them up to signing a guy who they can give more money to, not be an everyday starter.
Exactly, and even like worst case scenario, like I know they had like Mark Vientos like supposed to be the third baseman or whatever. He's not really that great defensively, and even so, you can always put him at first. Like he can play first base, he can DH, he can be whatever. Like you still have spots for him, even if you sign Bregman. So it doesn't take Vientos out of the picture because he still obviously does have pretty high ceiling that I bet the Mets are going to bank on. So that's what I got. And for the figure, I have 6 years, 162. I think Bregman could probably get higher than this, especially with Boris as his agent. We saw how ridiculous he was in the first half, too, and then he kind of slowed down after coming back from the injury. You can say what you will about, coming back and this and that, whatever. He definitely upped his value from last offseason. He rejected a deal of, like, I don't remember what it was from the Astros, but I think it was a little bit less than this. I think this is a deal that I think makes sense. I don't think he's going to command too much longer than this. This takes him through age, I think, 38. So this is not the player that you're going to give 10 years to, especially when he's already 32 years old. I think this makes sense for Bregman. It's an AAV of 27, which is a pretty nice deal for him. And I think you said you had the same team, right? You had the Mets?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ethan, where do you got Dylan Cease headed?
Dylan Cease, there were a couple teams I was looking at for him. An under-the-radar team could be a team like the Phillies because they're losing Ranger Suarez, presumably. Wheeler's still hurt. Nola's a question mark at this point of his career. He looked good in the playoffs, but in the regular season was kind of iffy. I could see a team like the Cubs kind of want to replace, Imanaga with what was happening, implying that they don't bring him back on a cheaper deal because I'm pretty sure he declined the qualifying offer. So that could be a direction they go. But I do think it's going to be interesting. I think that Boston's going to probably go after him. I know they were after him when he was still on the Padres via trade. Might as well get him now when they don't have to give anything up.
Yep.
But something I do want to note before we talk about the trades, because we will get to it, is that the Red Sox they almost got Joe Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the price for Joe Ryan is just very high. And I'm not going to say that Cease is, Joe Ryan, but he's definitely pretty damn good. I'm not going to compare them. I'm not like comparing them now, but it's just if you can get a pitcher who is probably has a higher ceiling for no assets in terms of giving up prospects, go for it. I think him to the Red Sox makes sense. And I could see a deal something along the lines of like 20, 25 a year for, over 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The team that I have for Dylan Cease is the Astros. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be in on Cease. Obviously, the Padres, I assume, are probably going to try to bring him back. Boston, like you said. I think other teams, I have the Astros for him. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be in on him, especially since they're going to have a big hole to fill with Framber Valdez potentially leaving, or maybe he goes back, but regardless, you're going to have something to fill in there. I think other teams like Toronto, I think, is going to be in on him. There's other teams as well, like you said, the Phillies. I think even the Mets could be a team for him. They need starting pitching as well. The Cubs, that's like most contenders are going to be in on Dylan Cease. I think that the Astros are ultimately going to be the one he ends up with. I don't think that too many teams are going to make multiple top-tier pitching moves in the same offseason. That's why I don't have him going to the Red Sox, because I have another thing later. But I do think that the Astros, I think he's going to end up there. He's going to basically be the Valdez replacement, and I honestly think that makes the rotation better. I think that Cease is like the best. I feel pretty confident in saying he's the best free agent pitcher. Don't let that ERA fool you. He has incredible stuff. Even if the walks are a little bit of an issue, he can pitch around it. He's shown that he can pitch around it. So, so you have Boston. I have Houston. I have my figure for him at 7 years, 26.5 a year. So that's equals 185.5.
I said 7 or 8 at about 25 and a half, I'll say.
All right. Next one we got Framber Valdez. He's seen some rumors. The Orioles are a team that's been rumored around him and some other starters. I have thoughts about the Orioles. We'll get to in a little bit. Where do you got Framber Valdez going?
Framber Valdez, I think I have them going to. I think you have them on the Giants, and I have that too. I didn't write it down, but that's what I was thinking. I mean, we've seen teams want to, say that they're going to spend and they want to spend. But the Giants, it makes sense. I don't think the Giants are in a spot where they're too far away from competing. I think if they can get a guy like Framber Valdez under contract for the next 5 years or so, that would be huge. Obviously, they don't have the greatest rotation. So getting a guy that's a true ace for that, that group alongside Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, who looks like he's kind of found a home there in San Francisco.
He kind of looks back.
Yes, he does. But a 1-2-3 of Valdez, Webb, and Ray would be pretty nasty, I do say so.
That'd be disgusting. Imagine facing Framber Valdez in Game 3 of a division series, a championship series. That's kind of gross, but.
So I love that fit. I think that would make that rotation deadly, and then you can call somebody up or sign a 4 or 5 starter that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and really only short-term deal or something. So I like them. I like that fit there for Framber. In terms of the contract, I'll go 5 years, 150.
Yeah, I have. I have 6, 180. It's just an extra year. It's the same deal you had. The only thing that potentially scares me with Framber is that I don't know if you've seen some of the projections. He's projected to get a stupid high AAV. He's projected on SpotRack at $33.5 million AAV. No.
I mean, that's also the same site that projected Arias to get, what was it, 80 million?
That's true. It was 70, which is
5
stupid.
Years, 70 something.
That's stupid, but I look at that and I'm I don't know if he's going to get something that high. I have 30 million because I'm you know what? He'll get something high because he's really good. but I just can't see him getting more than 30 a year. I think that there's also some, like, obviously there's the clubhouse thing, but, or like the weird thing with the catcher that people were talking about. I think that it's like, there's some pretty concerning potential decline stuff there, that would kind of scare me from giving him a, like, 33 AAV over, like, 7 years. I toned it down a little bit for my projection, but yeah.
That's a guy, though, who you're not going to really have a hard time trading him if it comes down to it.
True.
If you have to.
True.
So that's another thing of giving him that 5 or 6 year deal.
True.
You have the flexibility that if things are going south, if a team isn't being built the way that you thought it would, if, whatever reason it might be, you could move on from him.
True. This is very true.
But they're obviously not going to be thinking about that when signing the deal.
Yeah, they're thinking about, get me in right now.
Give me an ace, yeah.
All right, we'll go on to the next player, Cody Bellinger. I think we have the same thing here, probably.
Yes.
Going back to the Yankees.
I've seen so many things that are pointing to Bellinger being the Yankees' like main focus of bringing him back. I don't see a world in which he doesn't go there, honestly. It makes so much sense for both sides.
I can't see him on another team. And I also think, like,
no.
As much as, like, he fits perfectly on the Yankees, I think the Yankees, they kind of need him. He has proven that he can't, like, he's bounced back, not, like, MVP Bellinger, obviously, but he's, like, fully bounced back as a hitter. He's shown he's still, like, an all-star level hitter. He is a fantastic defensive outfielder out there, which I do think that they really need, especially as Judge climbs deeper and deeper into his 30s. Jason Dominguez isn't a good defensive left fielder, so if they can put him in center field, which I think they should have been doing anyways, I think they should have swapped him and Grisham left and center. That is going to make a big difference for them. I think he is an incredibly valuable player, and I think they kind of need to bring him back.
Yeah.
I got 28 a year, 6 years. That's 168 total. So, next up, Kyle Schwarber. What do you got for Kyle Schwarber?
I am going back to Philly. I think that's the Phillies' priority.
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 years, 140, which is 28 a year. I think he would take less than he'd get on the open market for sure to stay in Philly. I think he loves it there, and obviously the fans love him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's comfortable there. The fit's great. I just don't see it. I just don't see him going elsewhere.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to see him jumping ship, going anywhere else. I have him on a 6-year deal, $24 million a year. I think the AV is going to be a little bit lower because at the end of the day, he is a DH. He is getting older. He's 33 right now, but he's still fantastic. I do think there are also some concerns of whether or not 2025 was like the best year of his career he'll ever have, or if he'll come close to that production again. But all of that is kind of factored in. I think that this should be priority number one for the Phillies is get Kyle Schwarber back. Because he's probably the best bat on the market. Like, strictly talking about how good of a hitter whoever is, he might be the best hitter on the market. Or, like, top 3 hitters on the market.
Yeah.
So, if you lose him, you now have to replace him. And unless you get, like, Kyle Tucker, who they've been, like, lightly rumored and associated with, it's going to be really tough to replace that kind of value. So, yeah. We talked about Pete Alonso already, and we talked about Bregman. Bo Bichette, I think, is another one we probably have the same thing. Back to Toronto.
Yeah. It's just there's so much there of, like, him returning. He's said so many times he wants to play with Vlad. Mm-hmm. He wants to play here. There's so much pointing to it. The Blue Jays have made it obvious that they want to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
I can for sure see that, and especially from a team who is said to be going to have a very aggressive free agency. I think that it all starts with him for the Blue Jays.
It does. Like, this is a guy, I think, I mean, you've seen, like, the rumors of they're also going to be in on Kyle Tucker, which I'm sure they will be. If you have to choose, I'm taking Kyle Tucker respectively any day of the week.
Am I.
But that doesn't really factor into what I'm saying, is that Bo Bichette is a fantastic player. He's been a core piece of this team ever since he came up. He's been one of the top guys. It's been him and Vlad, like, literally since day one. again, like you said, he's said numerous times that he wants to stay here. He wants to spend the rest of his career here. It got to a point where I think it was right after the World Series, one of the reporters asked him, and he's like, I said where I want to be from the beginning. And we all know what that means. He wants to be back in Toronto. That obviously does not mean 100% that he will stay. He could go to this team or that team, but I do think that there is not really much of a reason for Toronto to not want to bring him back, and I do think that Toronto wanting him back, their willingness to shell out some pennies here and there, a pretty penny, and then Bo Bichette want to come back, I think that bodes kind of perfectly in our little nice cute reunion for the two parties there. I have him at 8 years, $220. Outside of Tucker, he's going to get the longest free agent contract of anyone on the market because he's the youngest player, excluding some of the players that could come up from Japan, like Murakami or Ime. Or Imai, I don't know how you pronounce the last name. It's one of the two, I'm sure. But he is the youngest out of the non-international group, so he's going to get the longest term. And he has proven over the last 5 seasons that he is one of the best hitters in baseball. He's one of the more consistent hitters in ball. He has, you can question his defense, his defensive ability at shortstop, but there have been a lot of teams that have apparently inquired about him as a second baseman. Ethan, I've been saying he needs to be a second baseman for like 4 years, but
yeah, I mean, it makes the most
a lot of Blue Jays fans in the know have been saying that for like a long time.
Yeah.
Have you seen? No, did you see the John Morosi tweet today? Or I think it was John Morosi. That apparently teams were looking at, or it might have been yesterday, but apparently teams are asking about him as a third baseman. Oh my god.
No. He can't even play shortstop.
Listen. He's already not a good defensive shortstop, and he has a really bad arm, like 30-something percentile arm strength. That's not going to go well at third when he already doesn't have good range, anyways. Like that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Second base it works because you don't need the arm strength or the range as much, but it is what it is. Yeah. Does that? Yeah. I have him at 8,220. That's 27.5 a year. Does that sound about right to you? You think?
Yeah. For Bo, I had 8 years, 216, which is 27 a year. But
yeah.
Very similar numbers, obviously.
Yeah. Pretty much right there. It's like 500,000 a year difference. I don't think he's gonna I saw some. Not really as much recently, but like here and there during the season, you might see the odd person say, "Oh, Bichette might break 300." He was never going to break 300 because he was never going to get the term. You saw like Trey Turner do it. He's not nearly as safe of a free agent as Trey Turner. I think there's a lot more things in his game that are more susceptible to a kind of harsher decline near the back end of the deal. That like someone like Trey Turner or whoever else doesn't have. But regardless, like he's gonna get a bag. And it's going to be probably worth it, barring, whatever happens.
Yeah.
All right. Ranger Suarez. What are you hearing?
Ranger Suarez. I have him going to Chicago, the Cubs, obviously.
Okay.
The Cubs are looking to... They were looking to, save some money a bit, but they also want to get better. And to get better, you do need to spend... I think of some of the guys that are in free agency, the starting pitchers, guys like Cease, guys like Valdez, even Michael King. I think the Ranger Suarez deal will probably come in lower than those, which would lead me to believe that if the Cubs were going after a starter, which it's been heavily rumored they will be, that's who they would have to go after. Putting him with in a rotation with Cade Horton, who looked unbelievable. Matthew Boyd, Jameson Tyone, who was very solid as the number 3, who would be pushed down to the number 4. They would have a very good rotation in this case.
Yeah. You're looking at those 3 at the top, Tyone 4. Suarez, and also with them letting Imanaga go, which honestly, oh my god, Imanaga. I have a lot of things to say about Imanaga when we get there.
I think
I'll talk more about Imanaga when we get there. But I think Ranger Suarez is the ideal version of what you wanted out of Imanaga, kind of, if that makes sense. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but the ideal version of Imanaga is literally just Ranger Suarez. He is a contact managing demon. Everything is hit on the ground. Everything hits really weak. He doesn't allow hard contact. There's no homers. He doesn't strike guys out like a super whole bunch, but he doesn't really need to because he's an elite contact manager and he doesn't walk up that many guys. He doesn't really walk guys either. Um, there's a little bit to be questioned with him. He has had some declining fastball velo over the last couple seasons, and if that dips below 90 on his fastballs, then it might not look very good for him. Maybe his velo jumps back up a little bit in the next couple years, to 91, 92, and that would be kind of ideal, and that'd be kind of perfect. But even so, he has displayed a ridiculous ability this season, the last couple seasons, to just not let guys do damage, and that's an incredibly valuable thing. And I think, yeah, the Cubs are my team for him too. I have him at 6 years, 156. That's 26 a year. I've seen him projected a little bit lower of an AAV than that, and I can maybe see it below 25 if he's 23, 24, but I don't see anything lower than that. I saw one projection where it was around 480, or maybe it was 500. I don't see him getting 20. He's gonna get more than that. He's just proven that he's that guy. So that's what I got. Ready to move on to this guy?
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz. I don't know what team you have for him. Again, I haven't really looked at your thing. I got him going back to the Mets on a 4-year, $76 million deal. That's 19 a year. He's not going to quite get 5 years. He is a heavily velo-based pitcher, and he's going to be... Is he going to be 33 by the time opening day rolls around? I think maybe. I don't remember exactly when he turned 32. Yeah, he's going to be... he's going to be 32 when opening day rolls around. My bad. I have the ages written down here, and I couldn't remember if it was the current age or the opening day age, but I don't think he's going to get 5 years or more. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to get a really high AAV because he's a fucking stupid good reliever. He got the previous record deal for a relief pitcher. He's not going to break the total number, I don't think, but he might crack the AAV number. I have him just short of 20 a year. I have him going back to the Mets, especially after the year they had. Steve Cohen, I do not think that he is going to let this guy go under any circumstances, and he's going to have competition. I'm sure a team like the Dodgers are going to be in on him. I'm sure the Yankees are going to be in on him because they also need to improve their pen, but I just don't see Steve Cohen letting this guy go under any circumstance. Like I said earlier, I have the Mets having a stupid big offseason. They have the fire lit under them. If they lose Edwin Diaz, that is a massive blow because that is one of the top, debatably the best relief pitcher in the entire league that is now gone. And you have to replace him on top of other guys that you're looking to replace their value in your pen. So, yeah, I got him going back to the Mets.
I have him going to the Dodgers, and I have him at 4 years, $80 million, 20 a year.
Okay.
And I know you said that Steve Cohen's going to have a hard time letting him go. I agree. However, I think they get Robert Suarez, who we'll talk about later, to replace him. So they're going to save a little money there. And I think we could see them use that money in terms of, getting Bregman and getting some other guys, maybe who we'll talk about. Like I said, we'll talk about when we get there. But they could use that money elsewhere, save a little bit, and get a guy in Robert Suarez who... He's not Edwin Diaz, but he's still pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Valid. Absolutely valid. Next guy, Josh Naylor. You ready for this one? I have him also going to the Mets. Yep. 4 years, 64. That's 16 a year. I don't think that Naylor's going to crack the 20 AAV. I just don't think he's quite good enough. He's a very good player, but I don't think he's going to crack that upper echelon. But I think Pete Alonso's going to go. I don't have the Mets for any of the super big international guys like Murakami or Okamoto. So I think that leaves their corner spots open. So I have them getting Bregman, Naylor, and keeping Edwin Diaz. And a couple more things too. I have them going absolutely stupid this offseason. But yeah,
That's
I got
fair.
Naylor to the Mets. I think he fits there quite well. Imagine you're watching an AB, you're watching Soto shuffle, right? And then the next fucking AB, Josh Naylor hits a fucking tank and he does a little turn pimp job. That'd be stupid fun to watch. That would go fucking crazy. Does a little rock the baby celebration, or I guess he only did that the one time, but or some funny celebration when he's rounding the bases.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to have to replace production at first base, assuming Pete Alonso leaves, which I have him going to the Red Sox, like we said earlier. they need to get that production some way, somehow. I do understand that it's a lot to spend, but I also, like, Steve Cohen is kind of just a demon. So that's where I got. What do you got for Josh Naylor?
Josh Naylor, I'm going back to Seattle, and you said you don't see him getting over $20 million. I am getting 5 years, 22 a year to add up to 110. The reason I think so, he was electric. He was so good for them. He gave them everything they could have asked for. He was great in the postseason. He didn't, slow down production. I think that the Mariners are going to want to keep him over Suarez. Suarez, who struggled and was the more streaky hitter. I think Eugenio Suarez is going to leave, which, again, we'll get to next, or in a minute. But I do think that, Josh Naylor is the guy that Mariners are going to go after. And doing so, they're going to give him, a little more to ensure that he goes, he stays rather than goes to a different team like the Mets or something that they know could give him more.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes sense. Valid. Are we ready to move on to the next player?
Yeah.
Ethan, what do you got for Robert Suarez? Oh, wait, you said what you have already.
But... Yeah, I am going to the Mets. The contract I have for him to the Mets is 3 years, 16-year, 48. So, while Diaz I had getting 4 at 20, he's getting 3 at 16. They shave 4 a year, and it's 1 less year. It gives them more flexibility to do something, whether it's via trade and then extending a guy, or whether it's signing a guy, to a contract that makes that difference up, that helps them, in terms of their bullpen depth, get another... solid reliever, whether it's bringing back one of their guys or, going after somebody else.
I have another New York Metropolitan. I promise this is my last Met for a little bit, guys. I promise. The Mets' big thing near the late end of the season was that their bullpen, you remember the trade deadline, I'm sure you remember. They got all these guys. They got Helsley. They got Gregory Soto. They got Tyler. All these guys. And their back end of the bullpen looked genuinely unhittable. And then, Ryan Stanek is blowing games. Ryan Helsley's ERA is, maybe his phone number was put in that spot. I don't know. It's one of those numbers, I'm sure. But, was blowing games left and right. In addition to keeping Edwin Diaz, I have them getting Robert Suarez to get a bona fide elite reliever, and he is very comfortably a tier or two maybe above any of the guys they got at the deadline, even if some of those guys are still pretty good. And I think that gives them a lot more assurance. It gives them a lot more firepower right out of their bullpen. I have him at 3 years 45 because at the end of the day he is 35 years old. There are some things to potentially be worried about with him, just related to age. I don't actually see any direct things his velo is going down, or this or that. I don't see anything like that with him. But, yes, I have them also getting Robert Suarez. I kind of felt like an ass when I was writing this, because I'm like, oh, the Mets. And I'm like, this guy, yeah, this makes sense to the Mets. And I'm like, oh, fuck, he also makes sense to the Mets. And I'm like, could they do all three? And I'm like, fuck, I think they could. And I felt like a cop-out, but I don't care. I got them going absolutely stupid. So, that's what I got for them, too. You ready to go? Next guy?
Yeah.
All right. Michael King. Where do you have Michael King headed to?
I have him going to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
All right. Tell me about it.
So, the Diamondbacks. They've got Corbin Burns still, who is going to come back from Tommy John, but obviously... who knows how long that's going to take. Aside from that, the rotation isn't great. They got Ryan Nelson, who definitely proved that he's good. Outside of that, they really kind of struggle. Mm-hmm. The Diamondbacks proved last year that their offense was doing its job. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they need to completely overhaul the offense. Just, get some more pitching, which was the main issue. Obviously, it wasn't just one issue in the pitching where it was just, one starter will fix it, one reliever will fix it. I'm not saying that, signing Michael King is just going to magically fix the rotation. But I could see them going for it and using that to build on it. Mm-hmm. I have a 3-year deal coming in at 26 a year, so 78 over 3 years.
All right. I have Michael King going to the Baltimore Orioles. So, I originally had some of the starting targets a little different. I had them going to different teams. Um, and I actually originally didn't really think the Orioles were going to get anyone because the way I think about it, right? I don't think they're going to get any of the top three. I think Michael King is a pretty comfortable 4 in this free agent class, like among like how the starting pitchers are ranked. But I don't see them getting Cease, Framber, or Ranger. They've been linked to all 3. I don't see them shelling out that kind of money because they didn't shell it out to Corbin Burns last offseason, right?
Yes.
And albeit Corbin Burns obviously got more than probably what any of those 3 are going to get. But they were like never in the Corbin Burns free agent stakes. It felt like it felt like they were out from day one. Like they knew for a fact he was they'd never even wanted to bring him back. And I don't think that they're going to shell out the money for one of the top 3, but I do think that they're going to go for a starting pitcher, and I do think they can go, all right, let's look at a Michael King or someone else maybe a little bit below, and they can shell some kind of that money out. I have 4 years, $80 million. That's $20 million a year. So I don't see them going super crazy in a Dylan Cease or Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez way, but I still do have them getting themselves a nice little starting pitcher there. It would probably be the front of their rotation. Him and Rogers there. I don't know who's the 2. Probably Rogers the 1 for them, but that's what I have for them. I have them going to the Orioles. So yeah, ready to move on to our next guy?
Yeah.
All right. I got Devin Williams signing with, ladies and gentlemen, your Toronto Blue Jays. I got a 3-year, $45 million deal. That is $15 million a year. I do have him on a bit of a shorter term and a little bit lower like AAV than maybe his true talent is. I do think at the end of the day, Devin Williams is still legit. I do not let his ERA fool you. I had this conversation with one of my friends a couple days ago because I put the sheet together while I was in a lecture, and my friend's watching me put it together, right? And he's like, "Ooh, I have some questions about Devo, but all right." I do not have any questions about Devo. I think that he absolutely is still going to be absolutely fantastic. He still strikes a lot of guys out. He got better at allowing fewer walks, which is really, really nice. The hard contact was a little bit more this season, but even so, like we've seen in past seasons where like nobody gets barrels against him. They hit the ball super weak. I think a really weird season for him, but even so, with the way he performed this season, his expected ERA is still in the 85th percentile. It's still like 309.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any fear of him getting, like, if I give him a big deal, I don't really have any fear that he's going to decline randomly out of nowhere. And if he does decline, it's what? He goes from the best reliever in the league to like a top 10, 15 reliever. It's like, that's fine. That's not a big deal. If that's the decline, I don't think it's going to be. I think that's worst case scenario is he becomes the 15th best reliever in the league, realistically. So I don't really have a problem with giving him something like that. I do not think he's going to quite get the Diaz and I don't think he's going to quite get like the Edwin Diaz AAV because he had such a weird season. Even if I do believe that it's kind of fugazi, I do think that alone will it'll bring his market down just like a tick, but it's not going to be enough to prevent him from getting a big deal. He could get a 4-year deal maybe, but I put him at 3, just because I think that you might be able to leverage that kind of year into saying, well, what about this and this and this? Again, I think it's fugazi, but I think the thing is there. But I have him going to Toronto, 3 years, 15, or 45, excuse me. That's 15 a year. Toronto's going to need to improve their pen. It's not a secret. They need, like, high stuff guys, high K guys. Yeah. That's what I got. What do you?
For Devin Williams?
Yes.
I also have Toronto.
Whew.
I went a bit more than you, 3 years, 18 a year.
Okay.
I think the Blue Jays have made it known they want to spend with guys that are coming off the books. I think they can afford to give them an extra couple million to ensure they get a guy that could be a legit closer. I also have the Jays getting another reliever, which we'll talk about after, but having Williams, Hoffman, and the guy I'm going to say is as your 3 best, with other guys obviously in the mix, like Jimmy Garcia, who's coming back. Fisher, who obviously proved that he's good. Louis Varland, who's a complete workhorse and a dog. And the flashes we saw of Brendan Little, of what he can be. Bolstering this bullpen is not going to be cheap, but it's must needed for sure.
Absolutely. And if they don't make a top tier starting pitching move, which maybe they will, maybe they won't, who knows, you are going to need a bullpen regardless. Like, coming in and holding those tight leads in October is so important, and they know that. Obviously they know that. They're fucking baseball execs, right? So whether it's Williams or if it's somebody else, another free agent, someone on the trade market, maybe we don't expect. Although the trade market for relievers, like, I think, if I'm remembering right, it's like really weak this offseason. So I think it's mostly going to be FA. But yeah, I got them making this move. So that's that. Next, Murakami, the big free agent coming over from Japan. So I earlier said I had Naylor going to the Mets. And part of that was because I have Murakami going to Seattle. I got Seattle nabbing Murakami at an 8-year, $184 deal, $23 a year. He is 26. He's proven his power talent, I think, over there in Japan. I don't really think there should be too many questions about it. I do think the AAV will be a little bit lower because, again, you're not just going to stumble into a 30 AAV deal in the MLB if you haven't already proven something. In the MLB, I mean. But, like, that's still a pretty big deal for him, whether he's first base or third base. I think it's still going to be pretty good for him. This guy hits fucking tanks. Like, this guy's a demon. Even if he can't fully play third base, because there's questions about him and another guy that we're going to get to, and actually not very far from now, that both have a little bit of questions surrounding their glove at third base, but this would give them, in theory, the option to go and get either a third baseman or a first baseman. It gives them a little bit of flexibility after this move, whether it's someone from the trade market or the Elston free agency, who knows, but this is the one I got. I got him going to Seattle.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Murakami as a lot of people are. I don't think he's going to even get as much as people think. I am going to the Padres at 5 years, 15 a year, 75 total.
Okay.
I think the numbers against fastballs are completely jarring. That would make me steer away, for sure. I'm not going to say he can't be something. I can't see a team that's currently considered a contender that's going to go after him, though. I can't see a Dodgers or a Mets like people are saying. I don't think so. I think they're going to go after guys who are already proven in this league rather than a guy who's a big question mark. That's not to say that he can't be a star in the league. There's just so much troubling with swing and miss and just, chasing pitches, striking out a ton. It's just, I don't know how he's going to translate to major league pitching, especially when in Japan, when you play in Japan, the strikeouts are limited. Pitchers don't really strike as many guys out. There's fewer strikeouts, whatever the reason might be. That's just how it is over there. And if you're striking out at that clip in Japan, that's not just gonna go down in the majors. You know what I mean? More strikeouts in the major leagues, more strikeouts for him. That's how it's gonna work. I could see a team like the Padres who've been trying to lower payroll, maybe move on from one of their guys, whether it's a guy like Cronenworth, whether it's Bogarts if they could find a take or something like that, and they could use. Obviously they have to give stuff along with it, but just if they want to clear it and use that money, they could use that.
Disgusting, bro. God.
We'll talk more about that.
We will talk about it later. Yeah. Oh my God, this reminded me of the deal.
You get what I'm saying though. Like, if they're able to shed something, especially with Tatis rumors too, if they can shed something, they'll spend it 15. If they're able to shed 15, it'll be a bit low for them. I think they give them a bit more, but yeah, I think that's where I'm at for that.
Okay. I can obviously there are question marks. I have him getting a longer term deal just because at the end of it, he's also 26. I feel like any team that's probably going to get him, they maybe feel confident in his power stroke. Obviously we know home runs play. Granted, you're right. There's a lot of questions surrounding it. as there is with any international player that comes over. You know, they perform really well in this league. Okay, but like, what about this and this and this and that, right? So, definitely a lot of valid things here. But yeah, that's where we got. So you had, what was it, the Padres? I had the Mariners. Next, we got Eugenio Suarez. I have the Detroit Tigers swooping in, 3 years, $60 million, $20 million AAV, bringing him back. He played there very briefly at the beginning of his career, if I remember correctly, but they're going to need a guy over there. They've been like lightly associated with him. There's been some other teams that I think are really fun that have been associated with him. You know what team I wanted to put so bad because I thought it would be fucking sick?
Who?
The Athletics. I wanted to put them so fucking bad.
He'd hit like 50 there.
Dude, he'd actually... like, it'd actually be stupid, bro. Him, Rooker, you have Kurtz, you have... Oh my god, bro. That lineup would be stupid. Fucking Soderstrom, Shea. It'd be so fucking fun, bro. Just nukes for days. It'd be literally just endless bombs. But... I have him going to Detroit. I think that the Tigers are going to need someone over there third. They've been associated with him in potential, I guess you call it a reunion. I know I guess it technically is, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel like a reunion in the same way of a lot of other cases. But yeah, that's where I think he will end up going. He's not going to get too long of a deal because he's 34. And like, he's not like a regression proof hitter. Like, there's some whiff, there's some K in his game there. There's some stuff that you look at. He doesn't walk like a ton. There's some things there where you look at and you're like, I'm not going to give him like a 5-year deal. I'm not going to give him a whole lot more than 20 million AAV. He's not a great defensive third baseman, excuse me. So it's going to limit his market in some ways. Not limit his market, but like limit the value he's going to get. So, yeah, I got Detroit swooping in on him for that money. What do you got?
I have him going to Cincy, another team that he used to play for.
A reunion.
There was so much talk. About, them making a push for him. And the Reds are in a position where they're able to spend some money now. They made the playoffs. They took a big jump. They got some young players still who aren't on their big contracts yet. Take advantage. Give out a contract like this. 3 years, 25. 75 over 3 years. Just do it. Before you have to give Ellie an extension. Before you have to, give all these players their extensions. Sign a guy like that. Get some power in the lineup. You got a lot of good pitchers in that on that team. Mm-hmm. You can really do something with the lineup with a signing like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we had talked about before the playoff video was like, this is a team that they can nuke some here and there. Like, they're an okay offense, but they're not like great. This definitely propels them a little higher, and especially in like October, when home runs are so important. This is a guy that gives you a big boost. So, yeah. Cincy, him going back to Cincy would also be kind of cinema. I can't even lie. But all right, next up we got Kazuma Okamoto. Where do you have him going?
I have him going to the Angels. I like the Angels for this because, first of all, I think he's a better product than Murakami is, personally.
Okay.
I think that he is a more polished hitter. He's a more complete hitter. He's a more mature hitter. They've got some struggles in that lineup for the Angels. They don't really have a third baseman. That's a bit of a problem for them. They got Christian Moore, who's young, to play second, who I'm pretty sure could play third. Don't quote me on that. But I think that Okamoto would fit in well there. I also think that, having a guy like Yusei Kikuchi can help kind of get a guy like that. And even before that, clearly Shohei went to the Angels, so there's got to be some sort of incentive there that he found that he liked. So I just like that fit. I have him signing 4 years, 18 a year, so that totals $72 million.
Mm-hmm. I have him signing just a little bit lower. I have him 16 over 4. Or 64 over 4, excuse me. That's 16 a year. I have him in Arizona. So,
all right, I like it.
Arizona, even after they did like a fire sale at the deadline, they missed the playoffs by 3 games. 3 games. That's not a lot. That's last weekend of the season you get eliminated. We know how good their offense is. They sold both their big corner infielders, which leaves them with now a very big hole that they can fill in helping to try and propel them back. Now, obviously, I think they need pitching a lot more. But I think Okamoto, he fits great on the Diamondbacks. If his glove can translate to third base in the bigs, then great. You have a really good third baseman over there. If not, then great. You have a first baseman who can mash, in theory. It's not going to require a huge commitment. Like 4 years is not a lot. 16 million isn't that crazy of a commitment as well. So I have him going to Arizona on that deal. Next up, we got Trent Grisham. I have him. Listen, I was trying to think, and I was trying to think of other teams too, but I kept looking at this, and I'm like, this just screams Tiger to me. This screams Detroit. I have him going to the Tigers 4 years, 56. That's 14 a year. I don't think he's going to get a super, super high AAV. I've seen some projections where he's like 18, AAV 17. I don't know about all of that because I don't really think he's going to put up the same numbers he did in 25. But he's going to get money for it, obviously. The Tigers, they need a little something in their outfield. They run up Parker Meadows in the postseason in center field. You can't be doing that. That's not going to bode well over a full 162, or if you go back into October, unless you get a big jump from the guy. Or somebody else, which, who fucking knows. Better to bring in a guy who has proven he can do something. I don't think he's going to hit like 35 bombs again or 34, whatever he hit. But he's proven he had a good season. He's going to get a solid payday for it. The Tigers need outfield help. So yeah, I have him going back to the Tigers. Or back to the Tigers. I'm going to the Tigers, excuse me. What do you got?
I have him going to Baltimore.
Okay.
Baltimore, is they made it clear they want to spend, and unfortunately we haven't really seen that from them, but if they're serious, this is a guy they could be all over.
Yeah.
5 years, 20 a year, give him a little extra to ensure you get him. Put him into that outfield, especially when they lost Mullins via trade. They, are in need of an outfielder. Right now, their outfielder in DH, the projection is Dylan Beavers, Tyler O'Neill, Colton Cowser, and Basayo. There's definitely a spot for him.
Whew. Oh my God.
There's definitely a spot for him there, whether it's, center field or in the corner, outfield, whatever.
My computer heard that list of outfielders and it combusted in flames, bro. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Listen, it ain't too great up there, but what's the figure you have him
on? 5 years, 100 million.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
again,
boy.
I agree with you about Grisham, about what you said about Grisham. But this is a projection of what I think he'll get, not what I think he'll get.
No, you're right. That's a big deal for him. Even because the other thing too is like not even, and I'm not shitting on your projection, by the way, because like at the end of the day, this is what we think they will get, not what I would give them. Because if I'm a contender, I'm giving Grisham probably even lower than what I projected, to be honest with you. And I'm also,
again, Baltimore's not a contender, so they might want to do something to ensure they get a guy that they know can help them.
You're right. Another thing to think about with Grisham too, it's not even just his bat. His defense has declined like a motherfucker. His legs are gone, bro. His legs are gone. This guy used to, we remember he used to be a fucking demon in the outfield. When he was with the Padres, with Milwaukee, even like first year in New York, he was a positive defender out there. Oh my God, it's shot for him now, bro. His arm is a lot worse than it was. His range is worse. It's not really too great for him. But someone is going to pay him some amount of money, right? So, like, yeah, you have the Orioles, I have the Tigers. Someone's going to pay him something. So, we'll see what that ends up being. Next guy we got is Gleyber Torres. I don't know about you. I have him accepting the QO.
That's exactly what I put.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get more than this on the open market. He would have if he would have been 50% of the player he was in the first half. He was not in the second half. He was kind of dreadful in the second half, and I think that kind of tanked his market. Or I think I think it's going to tank his market, because you are either projecting that you're going to get a similar AAV. Let's assume you decline this with the thought of, I'm going to get 3 years, $60 million. No one's giving him that money. No one's giving him $60 million. I don't think he gets a multi-year deal worth more than maybe $345. And I think at the end of the day, I think it would be more worth it for him to accept the QO and roll back again and not shit your pants in the second half of the season. Because then you have a market comparable to what you would have had with your first half production, right? And that would have been a nice fucking market, because he was really good in the first half of the season. I mean, the guy started in the All-Star game, for fuck's sake. Like, there's something there, but when you have that bad of a second half, like, it's really hard, especially when there was already, like, you already took a prove-it deal, right? And then the second half was that bad, you're not going to get a big deal. You're not going to get a big multi-year deal. It's just not going to happen.
No, I agree.
You have him accepting the QO2, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. What you got for Brandon Woodruff?
Brandon Woodruff, I have him going to Philly. That's who I have for the Phillies, kind of filling that hole. 3 years, $60 million, $20 a year.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's a good spot for him. I mean, he's instantly going to be going to a team who, like the Brewers, are in the playoff hunt. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's going to a team that he's not going to sniff the playoffs with. Mm-hmm. And, they're going to be really, they being the Phillies, are going to obviously be really active in the pitching market, whether it is trade or free agency. And, with having to give the contracts to Schwarber and then potentially JT Realmuto, I don't really see them getting a guy like that we talked about, like Cease or King or like any of the top guys. Mm-hmm. But I think that Woodruff's skill is very good and his ceiling is up there with those guys.
Absolutely.
However,
there's that big thing.
The cheaper price tag is what's gonna entice them. And having a rotation that has Wheeler, if he could even come back, Sanchez, Luzardo, I mean, he would fit in nicely and really kind of make that rotation go from your favorite word, bleak, to something that's more positive and is actually a good rotation, not just a serviceable one. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, yeah, a lot of things you said are absolutely correct. The big thing with him is the availability. He's dealt with a ridiculous amount of injury bug over the last couple seasons.
Whoops. The Phillies aren't shy with getting guys who have a bit of injury trouble.
Yeah, it's not going to be an issue. That's just I'm just saying that's what brings down like the years. Like that's why he's probably only get like maybe a 3-year deal at most. Like he's not getting anything more than that. And it's a good alternative if you either can't or don't want to pay one of the top guys. I have him also going to the Orioles. I have Michael King going there. I have them also getting Brandon Woodruff. I think Woodruff has the ceiling. Like you said, he's up there with the rest in terms of his ceiling. The big thing is the injury and the age. I think those two kind of limit his term that he can get. And so I have him on a 2-year, $48 million deal. That's a 24-year. I don't think he's going to get anything more than that. He maybe gets a slightly higher AAV if he takes a 1-year deal. Maybe he gets like 25, but I don't think he's going to get like a much bigger total deal than this. I think 50 is probably his cap. If he gets a 2-year deal, maybe he gets like 370, something like that, but I don't really know if a team would give him 3 years. But yeah, again, for the Orioles, I don't think that they're going to open the books for the top pitchers, like I said before, because they didn't do it for Corbin Burns. I really doubt they're going to do it for one of those guys. So I have them going for Michael King, and I also have them going for Brandon Woodruff. Pretty solid alternative, and Ohtani just won MVP. Like everyone saw that coming.
No way.
What do you mean? So I have that as a pretty good alternative. I think that whatever team ends up getting Woodruff, if he's healthy, holy fuck, they're lucky out. They're getting a bargain. So that's where I have him going. I think regardless of whether or not they get somebody else, I think he fits stupid good on the Orioles. Merrill Kelly, what do you have for him?
Merrill Kelly. I have Merrill Kelly going to the Angels.
Okay.
I have the Angels having a relatively active free agency. I don't have them spending arms and legs to get, a bunch of guys. But I think the Okamoto signing and then this would really kind of make this team, you know, in the hunt, especially if they can get, sort of replicate years that they got from some of their guys like Adele, if they get a bit more power from Soler, if they can get some jumps from a couple guys like their young guys, and obviously the big thing is if Trout can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, who knows what could happen with this team. And adding a guy like Kelly can really bolster that rotation that isn't even looking that awful when you really think about it. Yusei Kikuchi is not a number one starter. He is their number one starter.
Yeah.
Number 2 or 3, if he is, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Detmers is your 3. That's fine. Soriano, I really like. Like, that's solid. Like, you're not going to have a top 10 rotation, but you're not going to have, like, a bottom 10 probably. You're going to be in that middle range, I'd say, if you can get something like Kelly.
Okay.
And that would really be nice.
Okay. I have him going to the Padres. I think that the Padres are unfortunately going to lose out on both King and Cease, but you have to look at what that rotation looks like after. It's our favorite word. It would look fucking bleak. So they're going to have to do something. I have them going and getting Merrill Kelly as a kind of backup. I think obviously they're going to go for those two guys first to try and get him back, but I ultimately have them landing Merrill Kelly on a 2-year, $35 million deal at $17.5 a year to help kind of soften that blow a little bit. They can still keep their rotation pretty good. There's a guy who's experienced. He was in the playoff race with the Rangers. A little rough for them that he would walk because I also think he's really good. He's also 37, so I think there's a little bit of, that's why he's not getting a super high AAV. Obviously, that's why he's not getting many years, but that's what that is. I have him going to the Padres to kind of help protect the rotation. What do you got for Shoto Managa?
That was a really tough one to predict. I really don't know who would use him. He has such a home run problem. He played in Chicago, which is one of the, most pitcher-friendly parks, and he still had a home run problem.
I am so glad that we felt... It sounds like we feel pretty much the exact same way about Imanaga. If I am any legit contender, I am not touching Shoto Imanaga with a fucking 30-foot pole. I'm dead serious. I am not touching
That's what
him.
I mean. Like,
he also, his stuff was noticeably worse. His strikeouts were down. Obviously, we mentioned the home run problem. It was like 2 home runs per 9 or something like that. I'm honestly surprised he turned down the QO. I think that's I don't know how the hell he turned down the QO after having that kind of season. Actually, no, he got the QO. It was a mutual option, too. I think it says a lot that the Cubs also... Yeah, that's right. He turned down both. I think it says a lot that the Cubs also turned down their part of the mutual option because they saw that and they were like, no. Like, we're not doing that.
When it comes down to it, there are only a handful of parks that are, more pitcher-friendly than Chicago. And one of them is the Mariners, who is easily the most pitcher-friendly park. But I don't see them going after him at all, considering the guys they have in their rotation. I have Texas as well as you.
Woo.
I just think it makes sense. Texas rotation isn't like anything special. Like, obviously they have DeGrom and Uvalde, but aside from that, like, you're still kind of relying on young guys who don't really know what they're gonna be. Imanaga, if you sign for a year or two, which I have a 2-year at $15 a year, you have that veteran guy who can be your 3 or 4 and kind of just, pitch innings, eat innings. Because at the end of the day, Imanaga, I mean, he's not an awful pitcher. He's still like a solid pitcher, even with that home run problem. I'm not saying it's easy to just fix your home run problem and just never give up a home run, but just the fact that there's clearly something there. He's not a terrible pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think
I think Texas could fit. Could be a fit there.
Yeah, I don't think he's like some terrible, like unusable pitcher, but it's like the problem is that like number one, his velo was down, his strikeouts were down. Obviously, the home run problem; those all kind of coincide with each other. People pull the shit out of the ball against him because I mean it's easy to get out of in front of 90 miles an hour on a heater, right? And it's something I look at. And it's really hard to kind of look at and tell myself that a legit contender like the Padres are going to go for him, or Toronto's going to go for him, or the Red Sox are going to go for him because they probably, especially some of these teams in more hitter-friendly divisions or parks or whatever. And it's like, do I really think that's going to happen? Like, his four-seamer lost a full mile an hour of velo last year. It's not great. Even his sinker was down a bit. Like, I see a lot of trends in the wrong direction. I have him on 3 years, 39 to Texas, but I don't really I wouldn't feel good about giving him a big deal if I'm really any contender because, yeah, sure, we've seen him be great. I'm not denying that he's had great seasons. Like, he was incredible in 24. Like, sub-3 ERA, was striking guys out, wasn't walking anybody. The home runs were kind of high, but with everything else, like, it was totally doable considering everything else, right? When the home runs per nine are almost 2, 1.93, your Ks per nine drop down by almost 2. Your velo drops. You walk a little bit more guys, but you're still not really walking anybody. Like, his FIP for the season was almost 5. Like, it's hard for me to look at someone like that and say, yeah, he's going to get a big deal. I don't understand how the hell this guy declined the QO. But yeah, I haven't won a text on that deal, but ideal world, he's your 4. Hopefully you get somebody else and goes ahead of him, but a 1, 2, 3, in theory, hopefully shouldn't be too bad for them, but we'll see how it goes for them. But yeah. Next guy, we got Zach Gallen. I have him going to the Angels. And I wanna say something really quick. I was looking when I was doing this whole list, I was looking at some projections, looking at Spot Rack, I was looking at MLB trade rumors, because I want to see what the ideas are for numbers on these guys, right? Why do so many people, or like why is Zach Gallen projected so frequently to get like a 4-year, $20 million AAV deal? I understand that we've seen him be incredible in the past, right?
I mean, I that's what I said. That's what I gave him, but as a prediction, not what I think he should get.
But I also say this. He showed a lot of things in 2025 where you look at that and you're like, oh, God, like, that's a big red flag, right? Like, Devin Williams is someone who had a really high ERA last year. It was like 4.7 or something like that. I don't remember the exact number was. But you look at the underlying things. Okay, he's still striking guys out. Like, actually, he's walking fewer guys. The home runs, he's not allowing very many. Like, he'll be fine. I look at Zach Gallen, and I'm like, what do I see here that a major league front office would look at and say, oh, that's actually really encouraging? I can't say that I see much there. I have him on a 1-year, $20 million, basically a prove-it deal to the Angels. And I do understand part of that might be my own lens or whatever. But I find it hard to believe that, like, major league front offices who are going to look at him, and it goes beyond the ERA, guys. I promise you, I'm not just an ERA guy. Like, he's getting less chase than he used to. He's getting way less whiffs. He's striking less guys out. He's, like, getting hit a lot harder. His walks are still not good. Like, I don't look at Zach Gallen. He's getting fewer ground balls, even though if it's still an above average rate. It's fewer. I look at a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, I don't really see what's, like, great here with him. Like, a lot of his individual pitches were a lot worse than they had been before. His curveball went from being an elite pitch to a straight up really bad pitch for him. Like, I don't. He tried to incorporate like a cutter more this season, and it didn't work. And hope maybe that's like part of the issue. fuck, I just don't look at Zach Gallen and see something very encouraging, and I try to justify to myself some team giving him a multi-year deal because they're desperate, and I couldn't for any team. Even the Angels, who I think would be the team to give a desperation deal on that, I can't see them giving him like 4 years, 80, or even 360. Yeah. I just can't.
Like again, it's just I mean, the reason why I said it was just because it's just that's what I think the contract will be again. Not what I think. That's all this is. We're predicting the contract. We're not saying if I were a GM, this is what we're going to give. I think a team like Baltimore, who have been very vocal about wanting to spend, and they're going to learn from their mistakes of not giving Corbin Burns that contract. I think they're going to have an active offseason. I think Zach Allen getting that is possible from Baltimore. I'm not going to say the average team is going to give them that, but Baltimore might want to dish out a couple extra dollars just to ensure they're getting a guy who they know can be good. And obviously, the floor is kind of low, but the ceiling, we all know what he's able to do.
I view this deal. You remember when, or like in predicting him to the Angels on this deal, do you remember when Syndergaard went there on like a 1 year, $20-something million deal?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I view this. I view it as like kind of the same thing. And this is, by the way, I'm not trying to say that Zach Gallen will never be good again, or he's always garbage or whatever. He can be good. Very well in 2026, he could bounce back and he's Zach Gallen of old, and he goes and gets a big deal next offseason, or whatever deal he signs this offseason looks great. I'm not ruling any of that out. But I look at things here and I'm like, okay, what could I look for here that a Major League front office could value? And I'm like, beyond him being good in like 23 and shit, and 22 and like all that, like I don't really see anything. Again, maybe a team does give him multi-deal. Maybe there's something that I don't see that a Major League front office sees and they capitalize on, and then he's fucking just Zach Gallen again. I don't know. But I don't know. I personally can't see it with any team, so I think he's going to get like a prove-it deal with whether it's the Angels or with somebody else. That's what I got. So, all right, we have another big international free agent, Tatsuya Ime. What do you got? What do you got, Ethan?
I have him going to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Ooh. Talk to me, Ethan. Talk to me.
This being a relatively big deal. 7 years, 182, which equates to $26 million a year.
Okay.
I think his talent is undeniably good. Again, that doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to be like the greatest player ever, but I mean, what we saw in Japan from him, he has a fastball that sits about 95, 96, could get it up to 99.
Okay.
Even when he does have a problem of walking a little bit, but that can obviously come down. There have been scouts that have said that he is just as good or similar to Yamamoto, which I don't think necessarily is true because obviously Yamamoto is a freak of nature.
That's a really high bar.
But it's a high bar. But the fact that they speak of him on a similar level tells me that this guy has the tools to be an MLB ace. And the thing with the Blue Jays is we saw this with Roki Sasaki, where the Blue Jays were selling him being the face of the city, the face of the country, whatever. That's what they did with Roki Sasaki. They had Gosuke Kato and also Ayami Sato, who I'm pretty sure is the pitcher, or like was part of the pitch too. She's the woman who pitched for the Toronto the Canadian Baseball League for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's a big thing, big step. She's the first woman to play pro baseball in Canada, or the IBL. My bad, it's called. So I'm pretty sure she was part of the pitch, as well as Gosuke Kato, who has a role with the Blue Jays front office. Gosuke Kato apparently has been scouting Imai for quite a bit, and they have a little relationship there, and it just feels like the Blue Jays, with the report that came out yesterday saying the Blue Jays want to be all over the Japanese free agent market, it just makes sense. This is the guy that they go after.
Hey, man. Hey, I'll rock with it. Ross, what you got for me? Yeah, there's undeniable talent there. I have him getting a pretty similar deal. What did you say, 6,182, or was it 7,182, something like that?
7,182.
7,182. So yeah, 26 a year. I think that equates to. I'm getting a slightly lower deal. I have 25 a year for 7 years. It's 175. Pretty similar deal. Like splitting hairs. I have him going to the Padres though. So like I said, I have
Slam Diego.
I have here Cease and King both leaving. I did have them getting Merrill Kelly too, but that's not gonna be enough. Even if you still have Nick Pivetta, and even if you still assume that he's gonna be a Cy Young contender, which I think when he finished, like where did he finish in the voting again this year? I can't remember where he finished, but
wait for who?
Pivetta. Where did he finish in the Cy Young?
Oh,
because he was up there.
I'm pretty sure he finished third. Or
was he finalist?
No, it was not third. No, it was fourth. I mean, I don't know.
He was up there, regardless of where he was. He was up there. He was up there.
He had a third place vote, is what I meant to say.
Okay. Even if you assume that he's going to pitch to that level again, I don't think that what they have in that rotation would be enough. So I think they're going to have to do something, especially if they lose both those guys, to really bolster the fuck out of that rotation and really kind of stamp yourself a frontline starter there, which, Imai, if you hope he can be that guy. 7,175, I don't think is that ridiculous, especially he's only 27 years old. This only takes him through age 33. This doesn't, like, lock him up through a time where he's going to fall. Or, sorry, this takes him to age 34, excuse me. This isn't, like, a deal that's going to lock him up through 37, and there's going to be a couple years of very obvious decline in there. Maybe declines around, like, 32, 33, 34 for, like, a little bit, but it's not going to be so drastic to where the whole deal is going to look super, super ugly, I don't think. But yeah, I have him going to the Padres. They're gonna need a frontline starter after losing Cease and King, which is what I have. So they're gonna. I got Ime, or I don't know if it's Imai or Ime, whatever. I'm gonna alternate and say both, so some of them will be right. But yeah, I have them going for him, and that's gonna be their frontline starter. So next up, we got Gregory Soto. You know, Ethan, I did a thing recently. I'm sure, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. I did like a armchair GM thing for the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah.
And I did that before I did this. And I kind of realized after a bit that a lot of the moves that I predicted here were the same moves that I had in my, like, GM plan. And I kind of felt like an ass because it felt like a cop-out, but I was like, fuck, this makes so much sense now that I'm thinking about it. I got Gregory Soto going to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 2-year, $15 million deal. That is $7.5 a year. He's not going to strike a super high AAV like the other relievers we mentioned because he hasn't quite had the same results as them, but he is still a
very similar,
pretty dominant lefty out of that pen.
Yeah, I have the Blue Jays 2 years, 8.5 a year instead of I think you said 7. But,
7.5, yeah,
or 7.5. So $1 million more, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty close deal there, but yeah, man, Soto's like that. This is another guy where I say, don't let the ERA fool you. You can look and see a 4 ERA and you go, well, that's kind of a mid-tier reliever. No, he's definitely a higher tier reliever. He's not the upper echelon per se, but he is definitely a very positive reliever, especially from the left side. Guy throws gas, which is kind of what Toronto needs out of their pen, even if it's not necessarily from the left side. They need it. They need guys who just overpower you because they don't really have that.
Up until we got Louis Varland, I don't think any pitcher recorded a 100-mile-an-hour pitch for the Blue Jays.
I think it was like Jimmy Garcia had like 99 a couple of times. Maybe he cracked 100 one time, but that was kind of it. But they're going to need guys who are going to be able to do that. And if they don't crack or if they don't really hit the high velo targets, they're going to have like stupid good breaking or off-speed stuff to kind of compensate for it. Because you got to be able to miss some bats here, and that's what Gregory Soto does quite well. Pretty good strikeout rates over here for the guy. He was one of the guys that the Mets got at the deadline, and this is one of the guys that was highlighted with like Edwin Diaz and Helsley and Tyler Rogers, and you looked at that group of 4 guys, and a big part of it was Gregory Soto, and you look at that and you're like, holy shit, like this back end of the pen is crazy. Like he 87th percentile fastball velo, he gets 83rd percentile chase rate, 82nd percentile whiff rate, 97th percentile barrel rate. Usually, what I find happens with some guys is they get a lot of strikeouts, a lot of whiff, a lot of chase. But when guys do make contact, it's a lot harder. But with Gregory Soto, it's not the case. The only thing that really can bite him in the ass is like a little bit below average walk rate. But even so, like, he's still really good. So,
Yeah.
and I do think that his AAV being a little bit lower, I think he's going to be one of the best value signings of the offseason, regardless of wherever he goes. But yeah, having going to Toronto, they're going to, like I said before, I mean, I kind of said it a lot with Devin Williams. I'm not going to repeat myself too much, but they're going to need bullpen help. I think especially getting an absolute just flamethrower from the left side will help them a lot, too, in really building like a shutdown pen. So that's what I got.
Yeah.
And I guess you got the same thing for me, so. Next up, we got Ryan Helsley. What do you got, Ethan? What do you got, Ryan Helsley?
Ryan Helsley is a very interesting one. He obviously struggled immensely for the Mets.
Oh, yeah.
I have him going to another team who said they want to spend. And I'm going to give this team, I'm going to give it to them, a 1-year, $10 million deal to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Look, I mean, the Pirates are an interesting one because obviously they are a team where it's hard to predict what they're going to do. They don't really sign free agents much, especially more than 1-year deals, which I actually have them signing a multi-year deal, believe it or not.
Shout out Ivan Nova. The curse is broken.
Yeah, but 1 year, $10 million for Helsley to Pittsburgh. Okay. One of those things where it was kind of similar to Aroldis Chapman, just kind of a get right year, maybe trade him at the deadline, or maybe they keep him, and the next year he signs elsewhere, gets it right. And that's not to say that's all Pittsburgh's good for. It's just that's not really what's going to fix Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. But I do, however, think that
Ryan Helsley is not going to fix that terrible lineup.
No. But hey, they got some good prospects coming up. Shout out them. But hey. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Helsley, it's just Helsley. There's not many teams that really make sense. I can't see a contender one to give him a contract after the stuff he pulled with the Mets. So it's just kind of like, what are you gonna do? Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. That's why I have the Pirates. Just. They needed a player. Enjoy.
I do get what you're saying with I don't think a team would want to give him a deal for that. And that does make sense, especially since he's on the wrong side of 30. I do think, though, he's had enough sustained success where one bad half can kind of be brushed off. It'll hurt.
100%.
It'll hurt his market, no doubt. Like, I think if he didn't have that, he probably could have racked 13, 14 AAV.
But I think I could see the appeal of him going to a team like Pittsburgh. Yeah. Just to kind of
rebuild his market, like, a bit. Top tier.
Yes. Okay. Also a mental reset where there's not immense pressure on him because the Mets, they're in the kind of win now mode where they really hoped he would be that guy for them. He wasn't. Just kind of reset a bit. Just kind of go to Pittsburgh where the expectations aren't through the roof. Play in a beautiful stadium. Play with some young players that are, possibly very good that could come up, like a guy like Connor Griffin you might be able to play with there. Definitely just kind of get right here for him, mental reset, just kind of clean slate, just relax on to the next one. Let me have a couple good months here, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, something that I think kind of makes sense for him after the second half, especially. Like, it no doubt hurt his market. To what extent, I'm not quite sure. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Because I have him going to the LA Dodgers on a 3-year, $33 million deal.
Okay, we went completely different directions there.
$11 million AAV total. The Dodgers are going to be going really hard for bullpen help. We said it before, like pretty much all postseason. Their bullpen kind of fucking stinks, right?
Yeah.
Roki Sasaki's probably not going to stay in that bullpen. He's probably going to go back to the rotation. And that is... During the postseason, that was your most reliable reliever, and it wasn't really close. He's not going to be down there anymore. Probably, I don't think.
Game 7 Yamamoto. Other than that.
All right, bro. Listen, bro. But yeah, like that's your most reliable reliever in the postseason, who's now probably not going to be in your bullpen anymore. So they're going to go after guys. They apparently were rumored to go heavy after I think the exact thing that the report was late inning right-handed arms. I don't have them getting Diaz, Suarez, or Devo, so they're gonna have to get somebody, and they're just simply going to get somebody. It's a matter of who they're gonna get. I think Helsley is gonna be that top guy that they get. I actually do have them striking out quite a bit in free agency, relative to what some of their expectations or hopes might be. But I don't think that Helsley's second half is enough to completely just kill his market. I think it definitely hurt it. I think if he had a second half that was even slightly worse than his first half, like let's say he drops like a 3.5 ERA reliever in the second half, I think he can still probably crack close to 15 a year. But I think that second half definitely hurt it, and that's why the AAV is a lot lower than a lot of the other guys that we talked about before. But the Dodgers are going to go for somebody, and Ryan Helsley definitely has that ceiling of maybe not elite reliever, but like one tick short of elite, I think. And so I think it could be a worthwhile investment for the Dodgers, especially if you hope that Tanner Scott bounces back. That I think makes a lot of sense for them. Yeah, definitely the opposite direction of what you were going, but hey, it is what it is, I guess, right? Yeah, man. Helsley to the Dodgers, tapped in. What do you got for Tyler Rogers?
Tyler Rogers, I have him going to Detroit 2 years, $8 million a year, 16 total.
Okay.
I just think that they could bolster their rotation, or not rotation, bullpen rather. I don't think he's going to commit a ton. I don't know if you want him in the rotation. That'll really help them there. I think there's going to be some mutual interest there. I mean, Detroit's on the come up. They're on the rise. They're, a very fun team. I think that, a lot of players would want to play for them. And especially to be in the same pitching staff as Tariq Skubal, even if he might, even with the rumors, I feel like just being able to be on the same pitching staff as him would just be incredible and very enticing as a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just makes sense there. Obviously, Detroit's bullpen isn't, they're not, it's not the best. They have some obviously solid pieces and guys who can definitely step up, but it's not overall a good bullpen.
Yeah.
And a guy like that can really, while he's not a legit closer, he can solidify that bullpen and kind of give a reliable guy in the middle innings, setup innings, whatever it is. Just a reliable guy, and that's exactly what he is, Mr. Dependable, and I think that would be a home run signing. Well, actually, hopefully no home runs.
Yeah, hopefully not. Not a guy who gives up very many, so don't you gotta worry about that if you're scooping up Tyler Rogers. Ridiculously, he's such a good contact manager, it's stupid. 100th percentile barrel rate, 95th percentile hard hit rate, 98th percentile ground ball rate, and 99th percentile average exit velocity. And he also doesn't fucking walk anybody. 100th percentile walk rate. He's insane, and he doesn't really overpower. He doesn't overpower you at all. 8th percentile strikeout rate. That sounds terrible, but he's so insane at everything else. It doesn't matter.
His chase rate isn't even bad either. It's not you know what I mean. It's not like it's just zero swing and miss or zero strikes and everything's getting hit. It's just the stuff that does get hit.
It's a lot of weak
it's not
contact.
Hard, and the stuff that gets missed, he's a very interesting player, and it's a very fun savant page to look at.
It is. It's a very fun, and I love him.
Especially with his arm angle and stuff, too. It's fun to look at.
Listen, it's a dying breed of pitchers. It's a dying breed.
It is.
And we need to find a way to resurrect these guys, because they're kind of amazing. On that note, I have him going back to the Mets. A 3-year, $30 million deal. That's 10 a year. He was incredible for them. Even after they got him, he was incredible. And I think that Cohen obviously knows. I mean, I've said this before. He knows they gotta build that bullpen back up, especially after there was a lot of games in the second half. Whatever. This is one of the guys that was a bright spot for you in that pen in the second half of the season.
And as we're saying this, it is official that Aaron Judge has won MVP.
So he gets the MVP. All right, there we go. So I will definitely be looking at Twitter later to see what people are saying. That'll be fun. But yeah, Rogers, like, if you pair him in there with Edwin Diaz, and in my scenario also have him getting Robert Suarez too. If you have that 7, 8, 9 inning combo of those guys, maybe you throw in somebody else in there depending on who else they could or may not get. That is a deadly combo. I think that Cohen knows that value. Or I say Cohen like he's the GM. Stearns obviously is a stupid good baseball mind. I'm sure that the Mets FO, their front office, they know that. They see that. There isn't really anything when you look at Tyler Rogers, because like he's going to be 35 on opening day. There isn't really anything here that I look at and I say, oh, fuck, a decline's coming. Because, like, what's going to happen? His fucking sinker velo is going to drop. Actually, it went up from last year, which is kind of funny. But what's going to happen is sinker velo is going to drop to 82. Like, who gives a fuck? He's already throwing 83. That, in theory, should be meat. But he's so good that it's not, so it doesn't actually matter. Like, there's no decline risk, I don't think. I don't know about you, but I don't see any risk of decline at all.
I just don't, because this is just who he's been his entire career.
And
it's not like this is a new thing that just came up in the past year or two. This is just his profile. Like, obviously, I'm not going to expect him to have another, like, to just consistently have a sub-2 ERA, but around that number, around, like, 220, 230 with similar
absolutely
walk rates and stuff is what I for sure see.
Absolutely. He's going to be rock solid out of that pen, so that's where I got him going. Harrison Bader. What you got for me, Ethan?
Harrison Bader, I want the Jays to get him, but I just don't think that's happening. He's a fun player. I have him going to the Royals for 3 years, 15 a year.
Ooh, look at us. We got
like
the same
that.
team again. I had a little bit less. I had 2 years, 12.5 a year.
Fair.
But, yeah, the Royals, they need outfield help.
Their outfielder is not great. You got Jack Caglione, who's projected to be their opening day right fielder, which, first of all, I don't really know, like, what's going on there. You know, obviously he has the potential to be very good. I don't know if he's if he's an opening day starter, but other outfielders include John Rave, Kyle Isbell. Their DH is Jonathan India. Their second baseman is Michael Massey. They need some offense, and they could get a guy who brings offense as well as defense in the outfield. So move the defense around a little. You could easily fit Bader at center field, or, you know, and having that DH spot with India. I mean, you could move him to. I'm not saying he's a good defender, and I'm not saying I recommend you put him in the field, but you have that versatility with that DH spot too.
Yep.
So you can put Caglione there if you need. You can put, Pasquantino if he needs a day out. Whatever it is, like, you can mix it around, and I think Bader would really solidify that outfield. Get a guy that's, you know, good. I'm not gonna say that Bader's some superstar, because obviously he's not, but I mean, 122 WRC plus bat last year. His career is just under 100, but the thing is, he's a plus defender no matter what. Okay. You're always getting that good defense from him.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, a lot of the same things that you said, they also just, like, need outfield help. Like, their outfield production last year was not very good.
I mean, they had John Rave as an everyday outfielder for most of the season, for, like, the second half of the season for the most part, so.
Yeah, with all due respect, like, that's kind of nasty. You know what I mean? Especially for a team that is probably going to look to try to get jumped back into the postseason. Like, they made some moves to kind of say, all right, next year we can get back in there. And I think that a move like Harrison Bader, I have them doing another, I have them making a pretty significant trade too, but would help, in theory, vault them back, or at least get a little bit closer. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, they do have some interesting prospects too that could possibly, you know, fill that role in the outfield eventually. But until then, they're going to need a guy to carry them over. And I think a guy like Harrison Bader on a 3-year deal.
2 year, 3 years isn't really like that big of a commitment either, right? Like, if he's bad 1 year, you can trade him for the second year. Like, you're not going to have to eat a whole lot of money, I think, for a 1 year deal or whatever. Yeah. Ryan O'Hearn is our next guy. I have him going to Cincinnati on a on a 2-year deal worth $21 million, 10.5 total. They have been rumored on some bats. They've been rumored on Suarez. You've seen the Schwarber talk, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Which that sounds fun, but
It does.
I don't have them landing those top guys, but I do have them, like, they're going to go get some, like, I'm sure that they're going to be in on those types of guys. I have it being O'Hearn. That's still going to be a big booster to lineup. That's probably I want to say a 120 WRC plus hitter, 125, something like that. Potentially for 2026. At a spot that makes a lot of sense for them, right? Like, you throw them at DH. They were they were throwing, like, Gavin Lux at DH, and they were running, like, DH platoons at the end of the season, which is not that great. Ryan O'Hearn gives you a little bit more stability in your lineup, increases the floor and ceiling of your lineup too. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Reds.
Yeah. One that I really am thinking for them is Tampa. The fit isn't perfect by any means, but I just can't help but wonder a guy like Brandon Lau getting traded and the need for a bat. I just feel like O'Hearn would fit that spot again. I don't know how it's going to work exactly defensively, but I just feel like that makes sense. He's not going to cost so much to the point where the Rays can't afford him, but he's also better than what they have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a really weird spot. This is also under the assumption they make a trade for one of the guys. But look, I mean, Ryan O'Hearn, definitely a good hitter. He showed it last season. I mean, it's not even just the one season, because the past 2 years he had 118 WRC plus in each year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously this year taking a jump, but even if he goes back to what it was at 118, that's fine, especially for around $10 million. I don't know if I would necessarily trust him in the outfield full time, but he doesn't have abysmal numbers in the corner outfield, so if you need to get some innings, I'm sure he could fill it just fine.
I think it's doable at a pinch. But ideally, he's like your first baseman, maybe.
Ideally, yes, but like if you have to start him in like right field for like 15, 20 games, you could get away with it, for sure.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the end of the world if he has to play like a month in the corner outfield. Or like play like kind of on and off. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Jorge Polanco. I got him going to Slam Diego on a 3-year, $45 million deal. They are going to have a little bit of hole opening up. I don't know if you call it a hole, but Luis Arias is hitting the free agent market.
I'll show you a hole.
Whoa!
What the? Who said that?
Hey, someone gotta quote that. Yeah, I have, Arias being a free agent, that opens up a hole at first base. Cronenworth is pretty versatile. He can move around a little bit. So you, in theory, could sign a second baseman. Fuck, you could probably sign a shortstop, but Xander 2, Cronenworth 1, but I have them going for Jorge Polanco here. This would allow Cronenworth to go to first base, or maybe you move him. I don't know. In my head, I was thinking Cronenworth to first base, but I guess you could move him too. So this makes their lineup a little bit better. They struggled a little bit on offense last season, which on paper you wouldn't look at that lineup and say they're a bottom 10 lineup in baseball, but by a lot of different metrics they were. So I do think that that's something that they need to try and upgrade. They don't really need to go after the relief market. They need to go after starters, and they need to go after guys who can fucking hit. Jorge Polanco did a fucking hit. He is not going to lose you much value on defense if he's going to play second. That's not a position where bad defense is going to lose you a lot of value. If he gives you what you hope for with the bat, then it's a plus. That's a probably middle of the order bat, I would think, for them. Probably, I don't know, maybe your 5 hitter or something like that. Ideally. So I think with that in mind, I think he fits really well on the Padres. There's other teams I think he fits really well on too. Like I think Seattle, obviously, Kansas City, I think he fits really well on. But yeah, I have the Padres for him. What do you got?
This is what I was talking about for that multi-year deal. Welcome to the Pirates.
Woo!
Hear me out.
I thought about it for the Pirates too. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought about it.
3 years, $42 million. That's a affordable contract.
Yes.
It might be a bit too low for him, but I don't think that would still. I think a couple extra millions wouldn't take them out of it if they were actually serious about signing him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have a deep system with guys like Connor Griffin, who's a big, name, Tamar Johnson. But the good thing about Polanco is he's not going to eat up spots because he can play second, he could play short, he could play third. Currently, their lineup with in terms of third, second, short, and DH, Jerry Triolo, Andy Rodriguez, Nick York, and Nick Gonzalez. He is better than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
He would immediately be arguably okay, at least from a WRC plus standpoint, he would be their best hitter.
Yep.
Or like immediately. I do think O'Neal Cruz is better than his WRC plus shows, however.
Mm-hmm.
But like you put that into a lineup and you have a guy like Connor Griffin come up at some point next year. You get some production from guys that you didn't really see the production, but has it in them. Like, Brian Reynolds, obviously. O'Neal Cruz improving a bit off of last season. You add Polanco to the mix. I mean, that looks good. And that could hopefully be a stepping stone to something more for the team. Like that could hopefully be maybe like, hey, we're going to spend a little more now. That could kind of be the thing that kind of lets everything go. Who knows? Maybe that is just, what starts everything off for the Pirates in terms of signing free agents. Maybe he goes there, has a very good year, and free agents will say, you know what, maybe the Pirates is a good, maybe Pittsburgh is a good place to go to. Yeah. Who knows? Hopefully for them, they need to give out some contracts. Why not? Why not Polanco?
Shout out Ivan Nova. You will no longer be the last Pirate to receive a multi-year deal. Shout out to you.
Yup.
What do you got for Ha-Seong Kim?
I have him just going back to Atlanta on a 3-year deal worth $12 million.
Yeah.
I think that it just makes sense for him to come back there. The Braves are in a very weird spot because a team like the Braves, with some of the talent they have, like Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., obviously that, they have some really good players. Ozzie Albies kind of struggled. Nick Allen also isn't great. Ha-Seong Kim is a guy who definitely can help with that infield. And while not, providing a ton of value in terms of his bat, he still gives you enough, especially with how good his defense is to make him a stable option.
Mm-hmm.
At least you'll know that when he's not hitting at a high rate, that his glove is going to be there. And for a position like, shortstop, you really could use him.
Yeah, but that's incredibly valuable. I also have him going back to Atlanta. I have him on a slightly smaller deal, 2 years, 26. But yeah, honestly, a lot of the same stuff that you said. I don't think he's gonna get a really big deal. I think this is kind of what he's gonna get. I think realistically, the biggest he gets is maybe 3 years, 45. I think that's the ceiling of his market. But yeah, honestly, a lot of the things you said, good, a very steady player. Not gonna change the course of your team, but he's very steady. So I think that kind of cements him back there in Atlanta. JT Romero is next. I have him going to the Padres. How many times during the regular season, or around the trade deadline, did we talk about how fucking terrible that catching core is for the Padres? It's not good.
A lot.
Real Muto does not give you automatically the best catching core in the league or anything, but it is a significant upgrade. He is getting older. He's getting up there. He's seen some decline, but he would, without a doubt, be the best catcher on this team. It's not close either. It would be a pretty big upgrade for them, especially if he can maintain some positive framing and it's just okay enough offense. I think this would be kind of big for them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree. I personally don't have him going to the Padres. I just think he's gonna up his deal in Philly. I just think he likes it there. I think that they want to bring back some of their guys. I think it's more likely San Diego addresses their catching problems via the trade with especially a guy like Adley Rutschman, who's possibly up for trade. I think that just makes a bit more sense. But yeah, I mean, I just think that Real Muto wants to stay. Obviously, I don't know him, so it isn't like a personal.
You mean you didn't call him on the phone today? What the fuck?
I haven't called him in a couple days. I should call him back and ask. We'll get him on the pod.
Shove it up. Yo, JT, if you're listening, come on, we'll have him on for an up. Don't worry. We got you. So yeah, what kind of deal do you have him on?
I have him 2 years, 15 a year, so 30 total.
Yeah.
I mean, he's easily the best catcher on this free agent market. And it's not really close because the second best is Danny Jansen, who I love him, but
he's not like that. He's not like that. So we get it. Yeah, it's a very thin catching market. Like, it's Real Muto, it's Danny Jansen, it's like Victor Caratini, like.
Yeah.
That kind of says a lot. So that does help Real Muto's market, even if you look at him and you think, yeah, you know what, this isn't like this isn't old Real Muto where he was like a 130 WRC plus hitter and he's a plus defender and he's like a sneaky good base runner and base stealer and all that. And he's doing all this. He's not that same player anymore, but I think any team he goes to, whether it's he goes to the Padres, he stays in Philly, or he goes to some other team, I think it would definitely be a plus, no matter what. Marcelo Ozuna. I'm not going to talk too much about this one.
I have a very funny answer.
I can't wait to hear this one. I am going to Texas. 2 years, $26 million. I'm not going to say too much about it. He was a plus hitter in 25. The Rangers need offense desperately.
Guess what team I said?
Again, I'm not saying much further. We don't talk about these kinds of players on here. What do you got?
Just think about the most random team imaginable.
Yo, you got him going to.
That's like, why the hell would he go there? Type of thing.
It's no, it's not Colorado.
It is Colorado.
It's Colorado.
Why not? I mean,
hey, fuck it, bro.
Why not?
Fuck it. At the end of the day, fuck it. Why not?
Why not, dude?
Why the fuck not? Honestly. Oh boy. To the Colorado Rockies. Ethan, talk to me.
I'm not going to say much about it, but just, I have I think it's 1 year, $10 million I put. Why not? I mean, have some fun, hit some bombs. I mean, fuck. Like, we had this conversation, though, the other day in DMs, where we said, like, imagine Schwarber just says fuck it and signs in Colorado.
Yeah, we did.
Like, his average home run would be 480 feet, probably.
Yeah. He just hit nothing but tanks. He dead ass hit like 90.
He'd hit 90 and like he'd be fucking, if he hit 500, no one would blink an eye. I'd be like, oh, he hit 500, call me when he hits 550. Like,
right? Nobody. Like,
I mean, he almost hits 500 now without playing in Colorado.
Right? Like, it's fucking stupid, bro. I was doing it to the Rockies. That's a new one.
I guess we could kind of speed these up more, just because we don't really need to go on and on about.
Raisel Iglesias, I got him going to the Reds. Reunion.
I didn't going back to Atlanta.
I didn't realize it was a reunion until like right now. But yeah, reunion over there. They need some pitching help, so a little bit of bullpen help wouldn't help. We'll lightning fire these last couple. We have about 15 more. So Nick Martinez, I'm going to Atlanta. They are going to need some pitching help. Their rotation isn't really that good.
I have him going to the Padres because I don't really have many of the pitchers going to the Padres, and
True.
I think again for them they'll be more active on the trade market probably.
Okay.
I will talk about our trade predictions, and you'll see my thought process.
Oh yeah. By the way, my bad. There was what I added like last night to my trade board, and I realized right before we got on I didn't add them to yours. Granted, I don't have that player moving anywhere, but I don't know. I kind of added him really late to your board too.
Who did you add?
It was Cattell.
Oh, I put him in anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, like I made my think on him. Also, for this, what we'll do is we'll go over once like free agency's ending with our things, and we'll see who did better with the predictions, who got more teams right, the money. We'll see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pete Fairbanks, I have him going to Baltimore on 3 years, $39 million. That's actually a pretty hefty deal, but they declined like an $11 million player option on him, which is kind of interesting. Again, the Orioles are a team that's going to need pitching help. What's funny is they traded away Brian Baker to the Rays. It wasn't quite at the deadline. I think it was in June, but that opens up a bullpen spot. But regardless, they're going to need some help, whether it's there in the pen. They're going to need guys, so that's where I have him going. What about you?
So I'm going to Miami, and it's a funny thing with Fairbanks. I don't know if you're aware. He has some nerve issue where he's unable to play
Pitch in the cold. You're right.
Yeah,
I did hear
like
about this.
there's so like Toronto, for example, wouldn't like a lot of people want him, and I think it could work because of the dome. But then again, like it's also the fact that he'd be living in Toronto and stuff. I think a team like Miami, where it's in the same state, and it's also a dome, it just helps. I think that it makes more sense for him to stay there. I could also see, a desert team maybe. Like, I could see a team like potentially one of the Texas teams, but I think Miami is just where
Fairbanks
it's
to the
go,
D-backs. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Look, it makes sense.
All right. Next guy up here, we got Chris Bassett. Shout out to you, Chris Bassett. Thank you for your services. He's going to the Braves.
I have a reunion.
Oh, I got to go into Atlanta.
Oh, I have a reunion with the Athletics.
Okay. Oh, shit. I thought when you said reunion, I thought you meant Toronto. I was like, shit, I don't know about all that. But not yet. I got him going to Atlanta. They're, again, that's a team that needs to upgrade their rotation. I have them getting him and Nick Martinez. 2 years, 26. It's a good step below his last contract, which is what he should get. He shouldn't get that same deal because he's not as good as when he signed the deal. So, yeah. And the Athletics, yeah. Fuck, I like the Athletics. That's a really feel-good one. I like that. Yeah. Where do you got Lucas Giolito?
1 year to Minnesota.
1 year to Minnesota?
I mean, gotta fill roster spots. So.
Fill a roster spot, potentially get a nice little return at the deadline. You know what? I have the Orioles getting another starter. So, I have him going to the Orioles on 2 years, $30 million. So, really try to bolster that rotation. I think they're going to go really hard on it. Where do we have Mr. 5 years, $70 million?
So first of all, instead of 5 years that much, I have 2 years at 25 total, and I have him going to Texas.
I have him going to the Angels on 2 years, 20. I don't think his value is very high. He's he's a solid contact hitter, but that's really all he's good for. He doesn't really, even with his contact, he doesn't get on base very much. Doesn't hit for power. Is not a good base runner. Not a good defensive player. Those things matter. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Although better career hitting numbers than Ichiro Suzuki,
which again,
Hall of Famer,
which is crazy. Like that's again, like it goes to show you how fucking long Ichiro stayed in the league after he was not at his peak. Like we said that. Danny Jansen, I am going to Texas. I think they're going to be in the catching market a little bit. I don't think they're going to be a Muto. They could go after him or Caratini or whoever, but I got Danny Jansen.
I have him staying in Milwaukee. Just why not? I mean, get a backup, keep your backup catcher. He's obviously solid enough.
That makes sense. That makes sense for them. Victor Caratini, I'm going to Tampa Bay. 2 years.
That's exactly what I said. Fortes and Fiducia, not a great tandem. Caratini at least provides something a little better.
Yeah, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. He's not perfect, but it's definitely an upgrade. It was a big void that you could see it when Jansen got traded. I didn't even realize he was filling Jansen's hole, which, I think is really funny. Kenley Jansen, I have him going to the Dodgers. Nice little reunion here.
I have him just staying with the Angels, honestly.
Yeah, I can see that. I got
a 1 year deal.
I got 1 year. How much?
7.
7. Don't talk to me. I got 1 year, 15.
Yeah, we have a lot of different we have different numbers there.
Got him some big old deal right there. Twice as much. Yeah, Dodgers need bullpen help. It is what it is. Seranthony Dominguez. I have him going to.
It'll definitely be more.
Seranthony Dominguez. I got him going to the Chicago Cubs. 3 years, $27 million.
Oh, so do I.
Hey.
2 years, 16.
Real shit. Yeah, pretty similar deal. I have him getting basically an extra year, slightly more, but again, that's another team that's going to need bullpen help. Brad Keller, I have walking too. So I think they already need bullpen help even with him, but I have him walking too. So they're going to need guys. Caleb Ferguson. Where do you got?
I have him going to Cincy.
I have him to Atlanta. 1 year, $5 million. There's some things to be concerned about.
2 years, 13.
Which I think kind of bring down his term and his AAV, but you know what it is. Kyle Finnegan. Welcome to New York. You are a Yankee, brother.
Ooh. Welcome to Houston.
Ooh, okay. I like that. I have him on 2 years, 20 million.
I have 2 years, 22 million.
Oh, okay. You're trying to one up me. I see.
I am. I get more money.
Okay, where do you got Luke Weaver?
I have him going to Boston.
That is funny. After
I
the
know.
wild card, that I'm not gonna lie, that's hilarious.
It
All
is.
the Red
It's
Sox
just.
fans that were chirping the shit out of him, which understandably
I
so,
know.
and now he's on your
Personally,
team.
okay, that was honestly one of the weirder ones for me to predict, just because like I have zero idea because I don't know how the teams value him really. I think that Boston, just because they want to, they got to change something up, whatever it is, and I have them obviously getting a solid reliever,
Mm-hmm.
but which one I have no idea. So
Mm-hmm.
I just threw him that one. That would be funny though. You're right.
I had Luke Weaver. That's hilarious. Weaver to the Cubs. I have him going there with Sir Anthony.
Yeah,
A little bit of bullpen
I
upgrade,
like
so
it.
I got that one. Justin Verlander. I have a Houston reunion. Like
Yeah, you know the
inevitable.
expression, all roads lead home.
Oh,
Like it's happening
it's like
again.
whenever Martin Maldonado would leave, and then they would just get him back, and I would they did that like 2, maybe 3 times. I swear to God, it's like the same
Yeah.
thing. He's always gonna end up back in Houston somehow, some way. Signs at the Mets, he instantly fucking ends up back in Houston.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave. You can't leave.
Yeah.
You might
You're
want
not
to leave.
allowed.
You might want to leave, but you can't. We don't let you. Um, Max Scherzer, I have him going to the Giants. 1 year.
I have him coming back to the Jays.
Okay.
And here, I'll tell you why. I don't think he's going to be having as big of a role as he did this year. I think it's more so the fact that he said he's never had this much fun like with baseball, and it's the fact that he's up there in age. He would be such a good mentor, and he was to guys like Trey Savage. I think bringing him back as a guy who's kind of like in a more coaching role rather than a guy who's actually starting a Game 7 of the World Series
Like the
would be
baseball
nice.
equivalent of like Udonis Haslam.
Basically, yes, and I'm sure he'd be relatively okay with that. Like, he'll obviously pitch in the regular season and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not going to be starting a Game 7 of the World Series,
Yeah, that's like the
which he did pitch well though.
Mm-hmm. I
He outmeted Shohei.
that is the he did outmeet Shohei. That the only thing I really worry about with like wherever he goes, whether it's here or like wherever else, is like the big thing that I worry about. If Toronto gets a big time starting pitcher, then like and then bringing back Max Scherzer is really like a nothing thing for me. Like yeah, they do it or they don't.
Yeah,
If they don't and they bring him back and he's like a legit like starter in your 5-man rotation, it's very worrying for me. As much as I love the guy,
yes,
and I do think he would be
but
very
that's
valuable in
yes,
like an
but as
off-field
like a
sense.
six. But as like a six man rotation, like coming up when there's an injury, if a guy needs an extra day of rest, he comes in, kind of eat some innings out of the pen, but also just be a mentor to some of the younger guys. I think that could.
I think that could actually provide some value. But if it's like how he was used last season,
yes, that's a yes, yeah.
It's a little,
That's
it's a
where
little
you kind
sticky.
of lose me a bit.
I got him going to the Giants. I have him doing the Justin Verlander thing. Listen, Unks in the Giants rotation is inevitable. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
There will be perpetual Unkness in that rotation, whether it's JV or it's Scherzer or it's whoever comes after. There will be Unk in that rotation, one way or another. Next up, Brad Keller. I got him going to the Yankees. Another reliever. They need to
Oh, I have that too.
help with their pen. Look at that. 2 years, 16 million, 8 a year. They need bullpen help. Like their bullpen was not
I
good
had
the
2
second
years,
half
20.
of the year. It is what it is. A little bit less.
So 1 year 10. I don't think I said, but I had 1 year 10 on Scherzer.
I had 1 year 9. I didn't say it either. I realized. I also didn't realize I said for Verlander I had 1 year 17.5.
I had for Verlander. I had 1 year I had 20. That's a lot.
I originally said 20, and then I realized, you know what? Let me dial it back. Let me chill a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Yankees, they're gonna need bullpen help. Like their bullpen just wasn't good second half of the year. We talked about it a lot on the pod. We're not gonna retread too much. Last free agent, Zach Littell. Where do you got?
I didn't give this team any free agents, so I gave them one. Washington.
I say welcome to Anaheim, Zach Littell. You are an angel.
Wait, did I not give any teams any free agents? Now I'm curious.
Oh, there was definitely some that I didn't give. I didn't give Colorado any. I don't think
I
Washington
didn't
got
give any
from
of the
me.
White Sox. Yeah.
The White Sox. The White Sox. All right, are we ready to move to the trade section?
Wait, did I give Cleveland one? That's over. Yeah.
Hey, shut up. Anyways, you ready to move to the trade market?
Oh, yes, but I was gonna give Cleveland Nick Martinez, but I decided that the Padres fit better.
You know what? Yeah, that makes sense. I saw them floated around here and there. That's a potential suitor for him, so that could make sense for them. Anyways, we're going to the trade market. We have big names to talk about now. We kind of died off a little bit near the end because, like, who gives a fuck about, like, okay, actually, I'm not going to say that. That's disrespectful, but, like, it's not the Kyle Tuckers. It's not the Kyle Tuckers of the world anymore, but now we got the big guys.
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal. There have been a lot of rumors surrounding him for the last little bit. He and the Tigers are apparently, like, $250 million off in negotiations, which is, like, ridiculous. Apparently, after last season, they offered him fucking 4 years, $80 million, give or take, which is, like, stupid, disrespectful for someone who, at that point, won Cy Young and showed really no signs of slowing down. Now we know he's won 2 in a row. He is a free agent after the season, so there's 3 options here. Either they trade him, right? They re-sign him, or they just keep him and he walks, right?
Yeah.
That's one of 3 things that's going to happen. I originally was saying I don't think they're going to move him, even if you end up, regardless of what you want to do, you're looking to contend probably. And
put it this way, if you think you have a chance at winning the World Series this year, don't trade him at all.
Exactly. That's what I originally, that's originally what my rationale was, and I originally had him staying in Detroit. But then I was thinking, right? If they have a package that they like, they're going to pull the trigger. It's just going to happen. If they get a package they like. Yeah. This is the level of player that will spark a bidding war. Here come all your top guys going for him. This is, at worst, the second best starting pitcher in the league. Maybe you like him over Paul Skeens, depending on who you talk to. And you know who has a really good package for him?
I like Trey Savage.
I do like Trey Savage, too. But you know who has a really good package for him? The Mets. Welcome to Queens, Tarek Skubal.
I'm on the train where he either stays or he's a Met. Personally, I think he stays. I just think they have to work something out. It's crazy to think that a guy with that much talent just gets let go.
I
get the trade, because the thing is, you're not gonna win a trade when you're trading him.
You're not.
You're just
you
not.
Simply are not. Especially when it's 1 year left on the deal. The value is so much lower than it would be if it was even 365 days ago. I don't think that if they're $250 million apart, even let's say they got closer and they're $200 million apart now, that's such a big gap. I don't think that they're gonna reach something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
maybe they end up
keeping... it's early because I remember there were reports with Vlad where the Jays weren't that close, and then it came out, oh, never mind.
That's true. But to be fair, there was also reports in the offseason that they offered him $340 million.
Yeah,
at one point,
I
and
that's
not
saying that at the end of the
same.
day, until the final number comes out, in terms of what he would accept, it's all speculation.
It is.
There's a chance that was just the initial offer, and they're gonna give him a bigger offer soon. And
this is true.
They want to see if they can get him for cheap, whatever. I don't know, but personally, I think he's gonna stay.
This is true. I definitely could see a world. I think it's actually pretty likely that he ends up staying in Detroit for 2026. Whether he stays beyond that, who knows? But I'm not ruling out the possibility, nor am I saying it's unlikely. I think it's honestly probably equally likely of him getting traded that he ends up staying for 2026. And that's why I originally had him staying, was you want to compete, whether or not you keep him beyond this year, your chance of winning World Series this year are higher if he's there. But I think if they get a package they like, and I think the Mets have a really good package they can throw at them, they'll accept it if they get a package they like. So that's what I have. I haven't one of the Mets. I guess you have him staying.
Yeah.
Next guy, Freddie Peralta. I say. Actually, you know what do you say? I started. What do you got?
So, because I was thinking about the Mets for Skubal, I was thinking, I do think they're going to still trade for a starter, but it's not going to be Skubal. So who could it be? Freddie Peralta. Why not? Welcome to the Mets.
Listen, you know what I've been saying? I've been saying the Toronto Blue Jays, they need frontline starters. I didn't have them getting any of the big free agent guys. Actually, I originally had them for Season, and I thought, you know what? I think it makes more sense if they go for the trade market. So welcome to Toronto, Freddie Peralta. And this completes the thing where I, kind of intentionally, but, not really, intentionally took my armchair GM plans and put them in the predictions. I didn't fully realize it until after, but fuck it, I don't care. I think Toronto makes a lot of sense. I think they're going to spend a lot of money on Bo Bichette. I think they're going to spend money on bullpen, and I think whether or not they have the leeway to go spend more money on starting pitching, who knows? But I think that they will be. It'll make a lot of sense regardless to go into the trade market, whether it's Peralta. They've been rumored for Skubal, but I think they're just going to get outbid. Like, the Mets have a better package, and there are other teams that have a better package for Skubal than what Toronto will offer. The bidding war is not going to be as intense with Peralta. He's not nearly as good as Skubal. He's also been expiring, so that also helps lower the value a little bit. I don't think it's going to cost quite as much as people think to get someone like Freddie Peralta. And yeah, I just think it generally makes a lot of sense for Toronto to add from the trade market. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, Joe Ryan, what do you got?
Joe Ryan, I honestly have him staying. I know he was close to being traded, but the one team that he was going to get traded to that I thought was really had the best chance was Boston. I see them using the free agent market, so I really think that he just stays at that point. What's different with a guy like Joe Ryan compared to the average guy on this list is he still has another year of player control. It's not like after this season he's a free agent.
Sure.
He's still under team control.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that plays into it. And Minnesota, while they haven't been known to spend, keeping a guy like that would be huge. And I think it's more likely they trade Pablo than Joe Ryan.
Okay,
but I also think they keep Pablo.
True.
Just because, I don't know, the contract's just interesting.
I have Boston finishing the job. I have them copying some Joe Ryan action, and I'll speak a little more on this later. But yeah, I have them finishing the job. They are going to need some front-end starting pitching as well. Their rotation isn't really that good. Even when you consider like a Brian Bayo, like Giolito is going to leave, and however good you think he's going to be in 26, that's still production that you need. That's still results that you're going to lose. In theory, in 26, and I think getting a guy like Joe Ryan, that just helps you give you a stupid good 1-2 with him and Crochet. Ryan Bayo as your 3 is kind of a really good, actually, kind of scenario. They were basically at the 1 yard line at the deadline. I think they're going to finish the job this offseason. They're going to bring in Joe Ryan. And yeah. Do you have Ketel Marte going anywhere, or do you have him staying?
I have him staying.
I also have him staying.
Arizona's lineup is good. Their offense is good. I don't think they're in a rush to move him, despite the rumors.
This is one that really, doesn't really make sense to me. Apparently, okay, it's even weirder, because apparently the rumor is that they're motivated to trade him, right? Here and there, you hear, oh, this team's listening on offers for this player. And honestly, that doesn't really mean much. 98% of the league you should listen to offers on. It'd just be kind of stupid not to. And I guess Ketel would still fall under that. You listen to offers for him, and if you get something that blows you away, you take it. But I'm not looking to trade him, you know what I mean? He is not really showing any signs of decline. In fact, stuff that's decline kind of that shows signs of decline. His bat speed's been actually getting better the past couple seasons, right? He is still very versatile, even if he's mostly kind of left his versatility in the past. He's mostly just stuck at second base. He can play outfield in a pinch if you need him in a pinch. He can probably play short. I'm not saying he'd be great at those positions, but if you need him to, he can do it. He is one of the best hitters in the league, let alone for his position. He is on also a really team-friendly deal, assuming that a 2031 player option gets picked up. He's owed $103.5 million for the rest of his deal, which isn't a lot, considering how long he's locked up and just how good he is. It's kind of a bargain. I have a hard time believing that a team... Okay, number one, I think he's going to cost a stupid amount to trade for, right? I also don't think it makes sense for Arizona to trade him, given where they are. Yeah, that's honestly the bulk of it. I don't really think it makes much sense for them to trade him. Them being motivated to trade him is so stupid. I hope that's a fake report, or it's misled or mistranslated or something like that. because that's like they just extended him. They just extended him at the start of the season. They give him a big extension.
Yeah, like why? Yeah,
And it's not like
that's
Devastating
what
where
I
it's
mean.
a
Like I don't
different
understand why
FO.
they'd be motivated to move him. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Like I said, it's one thing if it's like, oh, we'll listen to offers, right? Like, you do that with 99% of the league. Like, that it would be malpractice to not, right? But you're motivated to move the best second baseman in the league by a wide margin on a stupidly team-friendly deal? Like, what? I don't know, man. I have him staying. I don't really see a world where he gets moved this offseason. Another guy where I see him staying is Mackenzie Gore. There's some things to be wary of with him. There's also some things to look forward to for him. I think that Washington is going to try to hold on to him, see what they can get out of him and the rest of the team. Potentially make some smaller ads in the free agent market. I didn't have them getting any of the top 50 guys that we talked about, or anyone in the trade market.
Because I care about them.
Oh, you love them.
That's
so cute. But yeah, I have him staying in Washington. I just don't really. I think teams that are big on starting pitching are going to look elsewhere first.
So. That's fair. Personally, here's what I have. So I have Freddie Peralta going to the Mets, and the Brewers will need to fill that hole. So I have Mackenzie Gore going to Milwaukee.
Okay, that's actually kind of interesting.
I think that could be a fun fit.
That would be fun. That would be kind of fun. Yeah, because he's not owed a lot this year. It's only 6.5. He's arbitration eligible for 27, and then he hits the free agent market. Which, holy fuck, he does not feel like he's close to the free agent market yet. But it is what it is. Yeah, I think a lot of the teams that you think of when you think, oh, this team needs starting pitching, like Boston, San Diego, Toronto, like these other teams, Houston, Baltimore, they're gonna look elsewhere, free agent and trade. New York, or the Mets, I mean, they're gonna look elsewhere. So I think if a team did trade for him, it would be someone like Milwaukee, like a second or third tier of team in terms of looking for starting help. So I think that makes sense. Do you have Brendan Donovan getting moved?
I do. I have him going to Cleveland.
Ooh, talk to me.
So, Cleveland is in an interesting spot. Their current second baseman is Brian Rocchio, who obviously more there for his defense. Their lineup doesn't really impress me. Obviously, Jose Ramirez is one of the best players in baseball. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Steven Kwan can be good. They have some young guys that show a lot of promise. Kyle Manzardo, George Valera, Chase DeLauder coming in. They have some good prospects, no doubt. They're really missing, a current guy who's an established hitter. And I think a guy like Brendan Donovan's not going to be overly expensive to trade for. His WRC plus numbers in his career, 127, 118, 115, 119, consistently solid hitter. He is not a huge home run guy. However, that's never really been the Guardians' thing.
True.
I just think that fit is good for them.
Mm-hmm. I have him going to another AL Central team. I have him going to Kansas City.
Ooh.
That is a team that I think is going to look for middle infield help, or second base help specifically. They don't need middle infield help as a whole because they have fucking Bobby Witt. But second base help they're going to need. They got no production from anyone at second base this year. Whether it's Brendan Donovan. I think they also, by the way, on the free agent market, I think they're going to be in on Jorge Polanco. But I have him going elsewhere, and so I have Brendan Donovan going to Kansas City. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. Like you said, I don't think he's going to be stupid expensive to trade for. He's a very solid player. In terms of defense, which again, you can get away with bad defense second base. He's versatile kind of, but he's not super good anywhere defensively, so it's not he's giving you super positive defense anywhere, so I think that kind of helps his value stay a little bit lower. I think Bobby Witt can kind of help him up the middle a little bit, make him look a little bit better maybe, but I think he fits really well into that lineup. He would give them a lot of production that they otherwise were not getting from anyone playing there last year. Again, a big boost for a team that probably is going to look to get back into the postseason in 2026. So I think it's a move that makes a lot of sense for them. Mitch Keller is our next guy. I'm going to say I don't see him getting moved. I see him staying.
Yep, neither do I.
Even if the Pirates said that they weren't going to be spenders, I wouldn't really see them moving him anyways. I think that he has enough control. He's on an okay deal. I think it's a little bit pricey, but it's also not that bad. Like, you can kind of go both ways with it. I don't really. Again, it's kind of like the Mackenzie Gore thing. I think teams that are in more need for starting pitching are going to look elsewhere, and I think that kind of leaves Mitch Keller out. By the way, this is a really good market for teams looking for starters. Like, there's a lot of starting pitching options.
That's the thing. That's why I think that the free agent market for the starters isn't like you don't need to just spend to get one of the top guys in a free agent market.
There's a lot of really good.
A lot of guys down. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, remember at the trade deadline when the best starter was like Merrill Kelly, and he's he's out of the trade and free agent market, he's maybe like the 15th best starter. Okay, maybe not that low, but like something like that. You know what I mean? He's a lot lower. But yeah, I don't really see a team giving up assets for Mitch Keller considering his contract, and I also don't see the Pirates eating the money to get more assets. It is what it is. Do you have him staying or do you have him getting moved?
Who did you say? For Keller?
For Keller.
Did you move on?
Mitch
I
Keller.
said stay. Yeah,
you said stay? Okay.
I said stay. Yeah, I said stay.
All right.
Sonny Gray, however, that's who I have the Padres getting for their starter.
Okay. Talk to me on the grade of the Padres.
I mean, it's obvious that they're going to need starting pitching with King and Cease both hitting the market. I didn't have them getting one of the top guys in the free agent predictions like you did. Who was it that you had them getting again?
I had them in the starting market for the Padres.
Yes.
I had them.
You had them getting Imai, right?
I did get him Imai and then Merrill Kelly. Those are the two guys I had going.
Yes. So I didn't have them getting one of like the top guys, and they obviously need pitching. Pavetta's solid. Musgrove, when he's healthy, he could be good.
True.
Obviously, aside from that, it kind of gets interesting. JP Sears, I don't have too much faith in. Randy Vasquez, I think, is solid, but I don't think
you don't want him to be like your two.
He's not your number two. Yeah.
Ideally, he's like your 4.
I think. Yeah, I think if you're able to trade for a guy like Sonny Gray, that immediately makes your rotation good.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, it's not like the contract's untradeable, so they could definitely get something for him, but it's not going to be like the Padres would still be able to. Like I said, I have... I'll talk about it after, but I think the Padres have enough in the system currently to be able to trade for some guys who are on bigger contracts if that is what they want to do, taking on money, because we got to spend money to win. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have Sonny Gray going to I have him going to the Bay. The Giants are building a fucking super rotation over there. You're going to have Logan Webb, Framber, Robbie Ray, Sonny Gray. The big thing is the contract. He is owed, like, it's not a super long deal. Like, it wouldn't be too tough to move. But I do look at that and I think, how many teams are going to be able to absorb this money in a 1 or 2 year window? You look at a lot of the big market teams and how many of them are looking for starters. Like, I don't really think the Yankees are going to be looking for starters. If they do, they wouldn't trade assets for it. Like, you have your 4 guys who you feel confident right now: Schlittler, Fried, Rodon, Heel, and then you have at some point in the year Cole and Clark Schmidt. So you already have to find a way to fit all 6 of those guys in at some point. Maybe someone gets moved or whatever. You look at a lot of the other teams. I think, like, again, I have Boston going elsewhere, Toronto going elsewhere, I have the Mets going elsewhere, I have Houston going elsewhere. Although I do have the Giants getting Framber, I look at a lot of these teams and I think who can, like, who can or would reasonably eat this deal. I think the Mets are another team that makes sense for Sonny Gray too, kind of for the same reasons as the Giants.
I just think the Mets have their aim, their eyes set on a higher target than.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
Not to say Sonny Gray isn't good. It's just the Mets. They're not one to shy from making a splash.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You're right. But I look at that and I'm like, who would be able to either absorb this contract so they aren't giving up assets, or like whatever, right? Or like even if they eat half the deal, it wouldn't really hurt them too much. Or that the Cardinals would be cool eating half the deal. I think that's the Giants. They can take on the money no problem, even if they get like big guys. Like I have them Framber and Tucker and Sonny Gray. Like I don't really think they're gonna have too much of a problem absorbing that, considering it's such a short-term deal that they're gonna have to absorb. Oh, by the way, sorry. Part of that is a mutual option, so it's really just a 1-year rental.
Yeah.
if they want it to be, and Sonny Gray wants it to be, I guess. So it's 1 year, 35. Like, that's a good amount to absorb in a year, but it's not gonna like completely handcuff you, because if he's not good, you just decline the mutual option, and then he's just gone. So it's not really much risk there. But yeah, that's where I have him going. You said you have Pablo Lopez staying, right?
Yeah.
We're twins. I also have him staying. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a tougher
No
one.
way, so is he.
Oh my god. I have, I think he's actually going to be a tougher to move.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Injuries, the big contract. I think he's going to need to kind of rebuild
I think it's at the
some of
point
the
where
value.
trading him. But then again, they made that Correa trade where they really lost it. So
That's
who knows?
true. And granted, that was actually never mind. They ate more money than I thought. So never mind.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
who knows? Who knows? Maybe they just say fuck it, get off the money. But we'll see. It's 2 years. They got about $43.5 million total left, guaranteed. Just under 22 a year. Pablo Lopez is like really good. Like, I'm not denying that he's really good. I just think that with the contract and the age and the injury and everything, not that he's like old because he's like only 30. There was a pretty significant injury this last season, and I think it might be a little bit tough to move. If he doesn't like recoup some value. Not saying it's impossible. I think they're gonna have talks about him and teams are gonna call, but I ultimately just have him staying. Another guy that I have staying is Sandy Alcantara. I don't know what you think, but
I'm going to St. Louis.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say my thing for Miami.
Like
actually, wait, no, never mind.
Okay,
Talk to me.
Here's why I'll say this. So, I think they're going to keep both Yuri Perez and Edward Cabrera, personally. Okay. So, by keeping them, that kind of leaves them to move a guy that there were rumors about already.
Uh-huh.
The Mets were a team to watch for Sandy last season, but with them going after guys presumably in free agency, and I have them going after Freddie Peralta and with Skubal potentially on there, there's definitely better pitchers out there than Sandy. No disrespect to him. And I think with what they're building, I think if Sandy's the guy to move, a team like St. Louis could make sense. The price isn't going to be the price isn't going to be like untradeable. Like, they're not going to have to trade their, probably they won't have to trade their best prospects. They'll probably get, you got to think Doyle, Weatherholt, Quinn Matthews, those guys are staying in the trade. So if you can get them without trading like your top prospects, you do it. Especially when that rotation would basically be trading Sonny Gray for Sandy. You got a younger rotation. Sonny Gray again is 36 years old, whereas Sandy is 30. So you're definitely shaving years there. And Sandy, if he could stay healthy, that's a guy who you're gonna have for. Obviously, you're not going to make that trade if you don't at least hope to re-sign him. So hopefully you have him for 5-6 years, and then once the younger guys are ready, like Matthews, Doyle, those guys, then that's when you'll be able to kind of have him be your number 3 or 4 starter.
Yeah, and honestly, potentially could even. This might sound crazy, but he potentially could be a 2. He fully got his command back in the second half. He was like a 3.3 ERA pitcher.
I'm more saying though, he'd be the 1 now, but then in a couple of years he'd be down to 2, 3, 4, whatever it is.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no, he's gonna be a really interesting one to watch. Is obviously his numbers for the year look really rough just because he was so awful in the first half. But he was not quite Cy Young Sandy again, but he was legit in the second half. He was 3.3 ERA in the second half. His walks per 9 went from 3.7 to 2.1, or 2.2 or something like that. He fully just found his command again. The strikeouts were up a little bit. The walks again, like I said, they were perfectly where you, exactly what you were hoping for. I ultimately just have him staying. I also one thing that I'm thinking about is how far do I think they're going to go in either a selling direction or a buying direction? Now, granted, some teams do both, and I think this could be a team that ends up doing kind of both. But they were kind of sneaky in the postseason race for a little bit. Especially in the second half. You remember we had them as a potential Cinderella team. They were not, but we had them as potentially that. And I actually think that they're going to try to go for it a little bit this season. I don't think they're going to like hardcore buy like top guys, but I think that with that comes keeping Sandy and having a really good 1-2-3 with him, Edward Cabrera, who I also think is fucking nasty, Yuri Perez. You have some promising players in your position player core. Obviously, Kyle Stowers like the very obvious one. Like he was stupid good this season. Augustin Ramirez, I think, has some big time promise with that bat. And with that, I just have them keeping Sandy for a lot of those reasons. What do you have for Brandon Lau?
I have him going to Milwaukee.
Ooh, okay.
I have Milwaukee being active on the trade front. Milwaukee, I mean, obviously having a good year, but I don't think that it's reasonable to think every single one of their players are going to replicate that and they're going to finish with the best record in baseball again.
Okay.
If I'm them, I'd be looking to add some power, and I think that's how you do it.
Okay. I got him going to Seattle. In this scenario, I have Jorge Polanco going to... What did I say? The Padres, that's what I said. So he's going to be out. They're going to need someone to fill that hole. They also, like Suarez, I have going to the Tigers, so they lose him, and they lose Polanco. I guess they also lose Naylor too, but they also get Murakami, so it kind of balances a little bit. I think that Brandon Lau is the type of hitter he is. He's not quite like a pure 3 true outcome guy, but there's a lot of home run in his game. Some whiff and stuff. I think he fits a lot. He's one of those high-powered, high strikeout guys that I think fits kind of with what a lot of the Mariners kind of do, like with what Gino was last year and like Raleigh and like some of these other guys. I think that he just fits really well in that lineup. I think if Polanco leaves, they're going to have a hole to fill, and I think Brandon Lau just fits it really well. So
yeah, that's fair. I agree.
Next up, Jarren Duran. Do you have him moving? Do you have him staying? What do you got?
I have him going to the Phillies. The Phillies are going to get their outfielder. I would like to think they would be on Tucker, but with Schwarber, it's just not likely as much as I'd love that fit with Philly. I think they need to give some at bats to Crawford. Obviously, let's see what he can do. But I don't know. I mean, it makes more sense that they would trade for a guy rather than sign a guy with what they need to do to retain their guys and fix their pitching as well. So I think it makes more sense to trade for a guy, and Jarren Duran would definitely be nice on outfield, especially with Nick Castellanos basically as good as gone too.
True.
It's almost like they're down an outfielder before the season even starts.
Yeah, pretty much. You're right.
Because you got to think that he gets moved, but I mean,
he gets moved, or they might just fucking if the season comes around and they just don't want him, they could just cut their losses and just say, all right, we're just gonna cut you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 1 year left in your deal. You're not handicapped, right?
Yeah.
So
if they're valuing the trade market, I think that Durant could be a good fit for them.
I got a big one here. So I actually, if you pay attention, I have a swap between 2 players on this market. Welcome to Minnesota, Jarren Duran. You are getting traded for Joe Ryan, my boy.
Oh wow!
Or that's kind of the framework. It wouldn't be 1 for 1, I'm sure, but it would be somewhere in there.
1 for 1, and everyone needs to get fired who works for the Twins.
It'd be a really weird thing. Honestly, Duran probably gets moved later, for somewhere else or whatever.
I mean, I could definitely see that being part of the trade.
It would be part of it. It wouldn't be 1 for 1. That's the framework, but they throw in whatever else gets it done. But that's the main meat of the trade.
Peyton maybe.
That's the main meat of the trade. Joe Ryan.
You gotta think Peyton Toley gets moved if that happens.
Jarren Duran. I didn't really think about who else gets moved, to be honest.
I know. We didn't do
I'm just fuck yeah, that's fun. Yeah, man, Joe Ryan for Jarren Duran. That's gonna be the base of it. Listen, tap into my vision. When it happens, I will be there. If it doesn't happen, then this podcast never happened. In this episode, what I wrote down on the sheet did not ever get written down. Yeah, I think Durant. They're gonna probably move an outfielder. I think Duran makes the most sense. I've seen a lot of, is it gonna be him or Wilyer Abreu? I don't think that Wilyer Abreu is getting moved. I don't really think that there's much of a chance. I think if they move one, which I think is very likely they do, it's going to be Duran. I would
100%. They're not. Yeah,
like.
and I
There's
mean they're not gonna move Rafaela either.
Yeah, no, they're not moving Rafaela. Like, that's one of the best defensive outfielders in the league. They're obviously not moving Roman Anthony. I guess in an ideal world, you might want to try and move Yoshida, but I
Yeah,
don't.
but no, I don't know who's gonna want to.
No,
Like,
yeah,
it's
no,
just
nobody.
yeah,
I doubt you have any takers for him. To be totally honest, like
that's the thing.
he's like a 110 WRC+ bad at DH, and he's getting paid stupid money. Like, that's a fucking stupid negative asset. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, last year his WRC plus was what 88. So
I didn't even realize it was that. Like, I'm trying. Like, realistically, that's like what you're probably
sub
expecting
700
from him.
OPS.
Okay, yeah, true.
Yeah.
But like, even like before that, like, I don't really.
No,
think
I
he
know
was
what
a
you're
positive
saying.
asset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's probably what you're expecting, or like that's your.
No, I
ceiling
know
from
what you're
him.
saying. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, and especially with the contract, it's just it doesn't really fit.
Yeah, it's that plus DH
like,
plus the contract. It's not good. So it's gonna be Durant if anyone gets moved, probably. Minnesota. Stephen Aquino, what do you got?
Stephen Kwan, I actually have him staying, believe it or not.
Ooh.
I know that we were talking about the whole him to the Dodgers could work, this, that, whatever. But, like, at this point for Cleveland, it's just, they're in an interesting spot. I don't, as long as they still have Jose Ramirez, I think they're going to try to at least win.
Mm-hmm.
If they trade Quan, that kind of tells me that they're looking to do a full-on rebuild, which tells me they'd also be trying to move Ramirez. And it's just, I don't think they're ready. Even if they should, I'm not saying they should, but even if they should, I don't think they're ready to cut their loss yet and kind of go into a rebuild. I do think that he stays and they build around him and J-Ram.
I think about it a little differently. I don't really think that they would be going full rebuild if they moved Quan. I mean, it's a team that, like, for a long time.
It's dependent on what they get, though, as
true.
well.
This is true. That return would define a lot for them.
Because you can make two different types of trades. You can make a trade where you're getting a couple, like, pitchers or a couple guys who are, like, ready to play, like, the next year or this year, or you could just do a complete like a prospect package. I mean, it could be one of two things here.
True.
So.
True, yeah, that return, I guess, would kind of say a lot in the direction that the team wants to go. But even so, like, they've kind of done this a lot, whether it's they let a guy walk, or they trade a guy, like they let Michael Brantley walk, or they traded Corey Kluber, or, like, they traded Lindor, and they've still just, like, been in it, and they've, like, kind of, like, gone for it, but, like, not really.
Yeah.
But on that note, I have him going to the Phillies. This is
okay.
This
so you have Phillies getting an outfielder.
I
This
do.
is a different one that I said.
I do. Yeah, different one. He was rumored there in the middle of the summer, around the trade deadline. He was rumored. Where was he rumored? He was rumored here. The
Dodgers.
Padres. He was rumored. I think the Dodgers too. You're right. I think those are the main three that I remember.
That was a great call by me. Still.
That was
when I said that it makes sense that they came out a couple days later that the Dodgers have interest or whatever.
Woo! Yo, tap in.
Look at us.
Yo, tap into the vision. But yeah, I have the Phillies. They're gonna try and get someone. I'm sure. Like you said, like you can consider Castellanos gone, whether he's like on the roster or just not playing, or they trade him, or they just DFA him or release him or whatever the hell. He's probably not going to get time for them next year. He's not, even if he's on your roster, he's probably not going to give you any value. With Stephen Kwan, even if he's like a 90 WRC+ bat for them next year, you are probably getting good base running and good defense, which if that's in center, that's in right, although probably would be a corner spot, considering that's just where he's always played. That's good value. Even if he's the 95 WRC+, which we've seen him be better than that. Even this past year, like, he's been better than that. He's going to give you value in a lot of other ways. He doesn't need to be a stupid high-tier bat. And if you have Trey Turner, you have Schwarber, you have Harper, you have all these guys, you don't really need Kwan to be a stupid lead, like, 130 WRC+ bat. I don't think he's actually ever reached that mark in his career, but you don't need him to. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean, yeah.
Next up, I got a pair of Angels here, and I have both staying in Anaheim, Taylor Ward and Joe
So
Adele.
do I.
I think that the Angels are going to do that thing again where they, like, kind of go for it, where they, like, get guys that, like, are okay, or they have, like, some potential to be good in 26, and they're not really going to sell. Like, I think if they were going to trade these guys, I think, okay, Taylor Ward especially, if he was going to get moved, he would have got moved at the deadline. Maybe he gets moved this coming deadline, but they went and they got, who were the relievers again? It was Luis Garcia and Andrew Chafin, I think those who they got.
Yeah.
Even then, they didn't want to sell, and I don't think they're going to sell now that they have a lot more opportunity to add to the roster. Um, have them both staying, especially Joe Adell's a little younger. There's a chance that he makes another jump. Taylor Ward, he's not making another jump, but he's 32. He's probably still going to be good next year. Good power hitter. But I don't really. It's hard for me to see where these guys would go, or just the Angels moving them in general. So, yeah. And you have them both staying too. You said, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. Next up, talk to me. Where you got Edward Cabrera? Where you got him going? If you have him
I
going anywhere.
already said, yeah, I said what we were talking about with the Marlins. I think they keep both Cabrera and Yuri Perez, which leads to Sandy being the odd guy out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I have
So I think
him.
everyone stays.
I have him staying as well. I think the control makes him stupid valuable. Which, if any
Yes.
team can make a trade for him, they should, because he's
Oh, for
insanely
sure.
good. He's not making. He's probably like his arbitration projection for 26 is sub 4 million. His projection for 27 to 28. I don't think we can see the projections for those years anywhere, but they're probably not going to be very high either, compared to what value he's going to give you. So not only do you have an absolutely like incredible pitcher for the next 3 seasons if you get it done, but he's also like dirt cheap, and I think that's going to make him very valuable. And I don't think that any teams are just going to give that value. I don't think the Marlins are going to budge on anything, so I have him staying. Do you have Nolan Arenado going anywhere?
This was a hard one for me because I think he's 100% getting traded. I just have zero idea where. I just said Philly just because I don't really know what Philly's doing exactly. They've got a lot of holes to kind of fill. I don't know how long Bohm's going to be there for. I don't know what's happening with the DH spot. It's very weird. I think he'll fit somewhere in there. There's so many different teams where he could go to where it would just be like, yeah, whatever. He's not the same player that he was, so he's not going to be like an expensive trade, especially with how much money he's making. So I definitely think that the Phillies, who are definitely one to spend money, could definitely make a trade, especially like for all you know, that's how you got rid of the Castellanos contract
Maybe.
in a trade like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an Arenado trade is like really weird because he's making $31 million through 2028, like total, not per
Yeah.
year. Um, but like that's how much money he's owed through the next 2 seasons. Um, and he is not very valuable even on the field anymore. He was a sub 1 win player in 2025, and even if you assume that he's going to be a 1.5 win player in 26, which is I think almost double his F WAR for 25. Let me double check that before I say that fully. Okay, it's not quite double, but he was a .9 F WAR in 2025. You assume that goes up to 1.5 in 2026. That's still a pretty solid increase. Like he's gonna be 35 next year. The offense isn't there anymore. Even the defense is declining. Like the contact is getting weaker. He's walking less. Not that he walked a lot to begin with, but that just goes to show you he walks even less now. I genuinely think like he can't hit right-handed pitching anymore. He was like a 70 WRC plus, 78 WRC plus against righties this year, which just isn't gonna cut it. I really don't think that he is good enough to be an everyday starter anymore, and so that makes an Arenado trade really weird because a team either gives up nothing and then they just take that whole contract, or the Cardinals eat a good chunk of the money and they're probably going to try to ask for something that a team wouldn't want to give up. I'm not saying they're going to ask for a massive haul, but they're going to ask for, even if they eat 70% of the deal, they're going to ask for probably more than Arenado's worth. I think that
Yeah.
if the time to trade Arenado was last offseason, and I get it, he blocked I think 2 trades. I think there was one of the Red Sox and one of the Astros that he blocked. But I think he just doesn't have any value anymore, and I think his best value is his best option is legitimately a platoon bat to hit against left-handed pitching. And I sat here for a bit, and I originally said, "Fuck!" Like they're going to try and move him, but who the fuck's gonna want him? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I thought, I thought similar to the Sonny Gray one, although obviously not as bad because the Sonny Gray is like a lot easier to trade because he's like good in 2020. He's like very good still. And I thought, who can take on this money and it really won't hurt them that much?
Yeah.
And he would kind of fill that role and not, you're not overplaying him. And I thought it was the Yankees.
Yeah.
Now, I think that him and Ryan McMahon, shout out for my former Rockies, I legitimately think that is kind of an insanely good platoon.
Yeah.
You have, no matter what, you're having a positive defender at third base. Arenado is good against lefties. He's a little bit above average against lefties, like a 102 WRC plus he was last year, I think. Was it 102? Something like that. Yeah, 102. McMahon is a little bit the opposite. He is really a poor hitter against lefties, but he's, solid against righties, and he also has good defense. I think that kind of lets you get the most out of Arenado because, again, I just don't think he just can't hit right-handed pitching anymore. Like, his WRC plus was below 80. His slash line for the season against right-handed pitching was 217, 272, and 368. His OPS against right-handed pitching last season was 639. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's very bad. He shouldn't get much playing time against righties next year. I don't think he should get an everyday role. And I think that one of the teams that he kind of, in my mind, fits his ideal role is the Yankees because he can just play against lefties. And the contract won't hurt them too much because they're the fucking Yankees. Even if they pay most of it or all of it or whatever it ends up being, I don't think it's going to hurt them too much. So that's where I have him going. Next up, Adley Rutschman. Do you have him going anywhere? Or do you have him staying?
Yes, I have. This is the plan I was talking about for San Diego.
San Diego?
There were some guys that were on the catchers, like, that were in free agency weren't the greatest, and I thought that it would make more sense for them to be active in the trade market. This is the guy that I think they would go after, Adley Rutschman.
Okay.
Welcome to San Diego.
I have
Diego,
I have a slight fit, I have a slight flip from you. So you had Real Muto staying with Philly. You had Adley going to.
Oh, you have Adley to Philly.
I have Adley to Philly. That's what I got.
Oh.
I have him going to Philly. I got them pulling it off. So, I mean, he's younger. He's probably going to be a more consistent option than JT will be in 26. So it would probably be an upgrade for them. There's obviously always the ceiling of what you hope he can bounce back to, which hopefully for them he would. But that's what I have it up being. We don't know that he's going to get traded. The GM, or was it the Pobo, I don't remember who it was, came out and said, like, yeah, we're not trading him. But, like, they gave the other catcher prospect. I fucking always forget this guy's name. This is like the fifth time on this pod I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, bro.
What are you talking about?
What was the catching prospect that they gave that extension to?
Basayo.
Basayo, thank you. That's like the fifth time I forgot his name on the pod. My bad, bro. They gave him that big extension, and I have a hard time believing that you have him here and you also have Adley. You know what I mean? I have a really hard time wrapping my brain around that. And so I think one way or another, whether it's
declining too, so it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's looking like that extension was more so protection for, hey, Adley's kind of struggling a bit now, so now we have a guy who, if Adley we have to trade, we already have under contract, whatever it is.
Yeah, and also it kind of, what it feels like to me, and maybe this isn't actually what the idea is in the Orioles front office, the idea to me kind of feels more like they're kind of choosing him over Adley because they either know they're going to move him or they don't think he can bounce back to what he was, and they just have more faith in Basayo. I have a hard time believing they would give him that deal if they're fully intent on keeping Adley. I can't wrap my brain around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The GM can say whatever he wants. I'm sorry, I can't see it. Last guy, Luis Robert. I personally have him staying, and it has a lot more to do so with. I don't think he has any takers. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if the White Sox were to trade him, it should have been like 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah,
it's getting ridiculous.
2 years ago at the absolute minimum, but like probably before that too. I don't think he has any takers at this point. Like, his value's so low. I guess, like, in theory, it's not much risk because if he's not good in 26, you just decline the club option. But
Yeah.
It's still $20 million for a year. He's not really that great, or he wasn't very good, and there's a lot of things where it's like, fuck, can he bounce back from this or whatever? Like, he chases a lot. The swing decisions aren't really there. At his peak, he was hitting bombs, so it didn't matter. But now he's not hitting bombs anymore, and it's a lot of not looking great for him. So I have him staying, and that has a lot more to do with I don't think he has any takers.
Yeah.
You have the same thing?
Yeah.
All right. So
the final segment of this long episode will be a tier list.
A tier list. We are jumping back in. Let me open my tier maker again. Here we go. Shout out. Thank you, Ethan, for putting this together earlier today. Again, thank you. All right, so we have another tier list. We really like our tier list. We are going to be ranking these Major League Baseball contracts. Some of these are free agent contracts. Some of these are extensions from the team. Some of
the bigger ones over the past, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, these are mostly recent ones.
You're not going to see ones from, the 90s and stuff.
Granted, the value of those ones just don't compare to present day, so that has a lot to do with
they're also just kind of chosen a little randomly for some of them. For example, the Vlad one was because it was recent, the Bobby Witt one just because it was big, and obviously... no explanation needed for some of them.
Yeah, no explanation needed. The first one we have here, Xander Bogaerts to the Padres, 11 years, $280. I think it's pretty easy. This is a D tier contract. This is a D tier, bro. This was obvious that it was a bad contract from the minute that this shit got leaked or reported on, whatever.
Yeah, but this was at the time where they were spending a lot, and it looked like they really didn't care about. They looking kind of the Mets, where they just didn't care if they were losing the money because everyone thought or at least they thought they were gonna win.
I know, but no,
and I get what you're saying. If they won, it would have been who cares? It would have been worth it.
If you win, nothing matters, right?
Yeah.
With this contract, from the minute it was signed, I don't know about you, I was like, what the fuck?
No,
How did Xander fucking Bogaerts get 11 years? I thought he was gonna get maybe 6 or 7. Pause. On the free agent market, I didn't think double digits was even remotely close to being in play for him, and then he just ends up getting it out of nowhere.
He still has 8 years left,
and
he's
on it. So... he's already cooked. He's already cooked. We're in year 3, for year 4 of the deal.
Yeah,
he's already.
This was just year 3.
He's already cooked. We're done.
Yeah,
it's fried, bro.
He's still a plus defender at least.
That's a consolation for the Padres, I guess. What do you got for Robinson Cano? 10 years, $240 to the Mariners. What do you got for me?
So that was a huge contract.
That was big. That was huge. Especially for this franchise.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They still did this biggest contract franchise history. For what he did in Seattle, he wasn't there an awful long time.
They did end up moving him, what was it, halfway through the deal?
He went to the Mets. He was good there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He had some years where he was,
I would say probably a C.
I was going to say, B or C.
It didn't handicap them.
It didn't.
But it also didn't make them... it also didn't really help them do any. I don't know. It's weird.
It wasn't a great deal for them, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't
it's better than the Bogaerts contract, but it's worse than the ones that we're going to be putting in B. So I think C is fair for now, at least.
Yes, I agree. Garrett Cole, what do you think? What's your first opinions?
Garrett Cole. I think that's a fair A.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, A or B. I was thinking. There is a chance that the latter half looks a little ugly because of the Tommy John, but also he might just not. He's also just been super good for the Yankees ever since he got there. So he's
been a top 5 pitcher every single year. Top 5 is also being a bit generous since he got to the Yankees.
Regardless, he's been incredible for them every single season.
Oh, by generous, I mean you could say top 3 even.
Oh yeah.
Certain and years, obviously. Yeah, and obviously coming out of, Houston, those couple years with Houston, he didn't it's not like he signed the contract and then just immediately started playing poorly. He started pitching the same
Absolutely.
level. So
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, he was in
yeah,
2019, Garrett Cole, but that was also like a
yeah,
stupidly different level, and you don't.
yeah. I mean, we see all the tweets about that here.
Yeah, someone took a bite out of these motherfuckers, bro. Um,
Dude, did he just pay
intentionally
for like their
drop,
own salary?
intentionally drop this pop up, like, shit, man.
The diner still serves Coca Cola the old fashioned way.
Whew.
These Garrett
Crazy.
Cole still pitches the old fashioned way.
But yeah, like he's been incredible every single year that he's been there, and that's honestly
Yeah,
like we'll see how it turns out the rest of the way because of the Tommy John and how he looks after this year. Granted, I'm sure he'll take some settling in, but um,
yeah,
like he's been good. Like there's no reason to put this anywhere. If you're kind of mean, maybe you would put a B, but like that's the lowest I think you can go with
yeah.
this. Vlad, where do you want to go with this one?
I think it's A, but
Yeah.
it's really got the potential to be S. This contract hasn't even started yet. The first year after, like the first season after signing the contract, he puts up a generational playoff. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the greatest ever. And if that's what we're going to be seeing from him in big moments for the next 14 years, I think that'll be an S. But right now, definitely an A. Because he doesn't have the regular season numbers like this past year that we've seen from him like in 2021 and even 2024 compared to where Garrett Cole, Cy Young winner. I think that it's probably until like as of right now, it's probably just behind Garrett Cole,
Mm-hmm.
but it's close.
Yeah, this one's a lot more projection based because, like you said, the contract
Yes,
has not
he's
started
still
yet.
very young. Yeah,
Yeah, he's what is he gonna be 27 on opening day, 26, whatever he is. I can't remember exactly how old he is right
yeah.
now. He's gonna be like he's still like stupid young, which is like kind of like insane to think about. Cause,
Like
I
like
mean,
he'll be 27 the next time he plays.
yeah, okay, yeah, he's gonna be 27. Okay, I can remember if it's 27 or 26. Um,
He is 26, but he will be 27.
yeah, that's what I
Next
meant. That's
season.
what I meant. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah,
And it's like sure you can say oh well it's 14 years $500 million first baseman whatever he has an offensive ceiling that is not matched by very many hitters in the league, and we have seen him come close to the ceiling. We've also like his floor, like an underwhelming season from this guy is like a 135 WRC plus, which is still like really good. I think that this contract. Do you remember how people at first they said the Bryce Harper? Well, certain people said the Bryce Harper contract was an overpay, and like however many years in, people realized shit, this contract's actually like kind of a good deal. I think that's kind of how people are gonna see the Vladdy contract. After some time, um, I think
yeah.
it's kind of a similar vibe there. And speaking of Bryce Harper, 13 years, 330. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm saying S. I'm not. This is stupid good value. I can't even cap.
Yeah.
This is stupid good
People
value.
people think that he's overpaid. We're like idiots, which is funny.
This is no. That's
I
crazy because
It's definitely an S right now.
it's no. This has been a stupid good value. Like this is actually ridiculously good value for the Phillies. He's been incredible. He's won an MVP for them. Swing of his life. Like he's been stupid productive. The only like I guess you can say, oh, he kind of declined this year, and he had like a 125 WRC plus, whatever he was. Like he was still like a really good hitter, and like when you sign these mega deals, like you kind of just come like it comes with the territory. Like yeah, the last couple of years are probably not going to be that great.
Yeah, I mean he has a higher WRC plus as a Philly than he does a national.
I didn't even realize that. That's crazy. But like
142 to 140,
wow.
which is very close nonetheless. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it's even like that is crazy.
And he doesn't have the 200 WRC plus season that he had with the Nationals either. That's the thing. But yeah, like when signing these big mega deals, you kind of just like no, like you kind of just accept it when you sign. Like, yeah, we're gonna give you this. The last couple years might look a little ugly, but we're gonna do it for your peak, right? And
Yeah,
you know what? Given the trajectory, it's probably gonna be the case with this one too. Like the last maybe 3-4 years may not be so great for him. But again, that's something that just kind of comes with the territory of signing these deals, and you kind of take that into account. Like, yeah, that's how it's gonna be, but I don't really care. And even so, even if Harper kind of continues to decline a little bit, I don't think he's gonna have really that steep of a decline because he's just I think in his skill set, there's a lot of things that kind of stop him from having a fat decline. He's gonna, I think, still age pretty well. I think he still has some all-star years left in him. I know there were the trade rumors. That's not happening. Don't stop. That's not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's honestly all I can say about it. Without repeating myself a million times, I think this is a stupid good value deal.
I think the next one is even better value.
This is somehow even better value. Like somehow. I say somehow, but it's fucking Aaron Judge.
The most talented right-handed hitter that the baseball's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's making $360 million over 9 years compared to look at some of the other contracts. Trey Turner's getting $300 over 11 years. Obviously more years, but it's just, it's not even close.
Yeah.
He's better.
It's
Lindor making $341 with one more year. It's just...
He absolutely... Judge kind of mogs the value of, a lot of these other contracts that are here.
Yeah.
You know what's great? It's a $40 million AAV. And that sounds on paper like it would never be a steal of a contract just because of how high the sheer number is, regardless of how good the player is. Judge somehow made that a finesse for the Yankees because he's just that fucking good.
If he hits the open market today, I'd bet that he would probably break what Soto got. Well,
not cumulatively, just because he wouldn't get the term, but he would.
Just because of age, yes.
Yeah,
he would. The AAV would be.
Oh, he would easily break the AAV. He just wouldn't get the same term as Soto, and so he wouldn't get the total value. But he would. He would fucking blow right past the AAV number.
I'd offer him fucking $80 million a year.
Oh my god, fucking give me that 8-year 80 AAV. That sounds ridiculous, but I don't give a fuck. It's a fucking 10-win player right here. Suck my dick. Francisco Lindor, I think this is another one that probably lands an A tier for me.
Yeah, Francisco better than Jeter Lindor, I definitely think would fall there.
Yeah, this has been, again, he's a fantastic defensive player. He is a really good offensive player too, and for a while he kind of got a lot more shit than he really deserved for quote-unquote underwhelming offensive numbers. Even though it's
people say that, and it's just, you look at it, he's still a 130 WRC plus bat, 7 F4 player. It's just, this is a legitimate superstar shortstop.
He's
what a legitimate superstar shortstop looks like.
He's
30 plus home runs every year the past 3 years.
He's been overall the best shortstop since he got to New York. He's been I would argue you could say
since he got into the league.
Yeah, honestly that too, but yeah, honestly, you're right.
The fact that he's not treated as the number one shortstop is still absurd to me.
It's it's crazy because he should be a consensus number one too, and I don't really as good as some other. Actually, sorry, Bobby Witt exists, but my bad. That's
fair.
Bobby Witt Jr. exists. My bad.
He's still top 2. I would say.
Yeah, overall cumulative value for the last 5 years is probably Lindor. Bobby Witt Jr. is just fucking that level of different, so he kind of mogs him, but Lindor is also just that doesn't take away from how incredibly good Lindor is, and this also is an incredibly good deal. Manny Machado, 10 years, 300. This is the first of the two 10-year deals he got for the Padres. I'm not gonna lie, when I sent you the thing earlier, I completely forgot about the second one in my head, but. How do you want to rank this? Because do we just want to rank out what he's done for the Padres so far? Because he technically opted out 3 years in or 4 years in, and then signed a different one. So how do we want to rank this?
I think we're counting it as one. It's more so his tenure as a Padre.
Okay.
Like that, you know what I mean.
Okay.
I would say it's valid to rank it that way. Which in that case I would have to probably say it's a B.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you.
Don't get me wrong, he's a great player and everything. It's just, I don't think you could say he's on the level of what Lindor does, what Vlad does. Definitely not with Cole, so it's just kind of
or any of the guys in S, yeah.
But a high B.
Yeah, he's been up and down, but he's been very steady, but he's also kind of been a little bit up and down at the same time. And I feel it's kind of a similar thing with Lindor, where I feel to an extent, maybe not to the extent that Lindor was getting it in the first couple of years as a Met, But I feel like to an extent he was getting kind of like underappreciated, because like the numbers maybe weren't as like didn't pop out the same way as like when with the Orioles when he would have like home run totals in the mid 30s. Um, but he's still been such a steady player. He's probably on his way to Cooperstown. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think it's been like a finesse steal or anything like that, whether you count the first or the second deal, however you're looking at it. But I
Yeah.
still think it's a pretty good contract both ways. All right, Shohei Ohtani, do we have to talk about this at all, or can we just put it next?
I think that's fair.
Like, all the deferrals, and it's like $68 million in whenever he gets it is not the same as $68 million now. So it's like, what's the present day value on this again? It's like 460 something.
Well, I mean, I was more so even considering it at 10 years, 700. It's still already well worth it because it's Shohei Ohtani.
Well, yeah, especially with how they. You're right, but especially with how they structured the deal with the deferrals, it basically just like.
Yeah.
This 700 is like an asterisk. It's really like 460 or 450 or whatever the actual present day value ended up being. I don't remember what it was, but it's something like that. So we don't really have to talk about it. Ohtani's
Atkins and Ed Rogers should have done the tree planting thing for him.
They should have, bro. Listen, y'all gotta tap in. Y'all gotta tap into the vision. Steve Ballmer got it. But yeah, like there's not much to say here. Like. Other than like Ohtani's a fucking demon. We've said that a lot on the pod though, so we're gonna keep it rolling. David Price, 7 years, 217 with Boston.
I thought that was a fun one to add.
That was a fun one to add. I wouldn't have thought of this one. This is a good ad. Good shit. This is an interesting one because he did win a World Series there, but he definitely didn't give them the production that they expected when they signed him.
Right.
You were expecting that frontline ace starter, and you got really at his best with the Red Sox. He was like a 3.
Got like a 3 starter.
At his peak with the Red Sox. And then eventually he kind of gets paired with Mookie Betts to dump a contract, which honestly, that's just terrible asset management. But, that is not really what's being factored in. But,
right.
Where do you think with this? Because I'm thinking like, okay, they won a World Series, so that obviously, like, it doesn't really matter as
I would
much.
say B. I would say it's B because it's similar to Cano, but at least they won. And I'm valuing the fact that the team won into this because it's going for both sides. The fact that Boston gave the contract and it paid off with a World Series, in my opinion, makes it better than giving a guy a contract and you don't win a World Series. So that's why I'd say it's B. I'd say it's similar to where Machado is.
I was thinking...
but, like, not as good as Machado's, because Machado has obviously been, but I think it's fair to put this in, like, a B, which would be equivalent to, like, a B minus, but still B.
Do you want to put it in the high end of C? Because his production overall...
I could, yes. I'd be fine with that, yes.
When I look at this versus Cano, like, Cano's production in Seattle was, like, definitely, like, a good step ahead of what Price was with the Red Sox, but also, like, they won and the Mariners didn't.
I'd say it's about even.
So I think it kind of balances out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Is this D or F tier, this next one?
Oh, I think it's S.
Yeah.
S for...
So we're adding S plus for that. S plus. We're adding S plus here, right?
Super bad, and I ain't talking the movie.
We are not talking Jonah Hill.
Incredible movie.
Incredible flick. Incredible flick.
Time.
Absolute fucking hilarious movie.
I watch it a lot. But speaking of this, I am not McLovin that contract.
Yeah, I'm not McLovin this. You sign what you are hoping a guy who's you're hoping is going to give you like best hitter of his generation production, which with St. Louis he was.
His Seattle tenure, that's in like S plus.
Seattle?
But unfortunate, yes, it's Seattle, St. Louis.
Known Mariner, like Albert Pujols.
And this is St. Louis tenure. That's an S. Like he put those stats up. That's an S plus.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately,
though, he was Dookie for 90% of this contract.
Well, you know what? We need to make a new tier maybe for the next contract.
For the next one.
Fucking DNP does not play. Imagine. Just LOL. Just LOL.
Oh, whoops. Wait. I changed that. Wait. Fuck. I changed the name of this tier. Wait. Shit.
Oh, you ruined it.
My bad. Guys, I fucked up.
Admiral below. Yeah.
There we go. There we go, guys. I don't know how to use this site. Lol.
Make it gray. It doesn't even get a cool color.
It doesn't even get a cool color? Oh, that's diabolical. Yo, shut. That's tough, Rendon. We'll give you light gray. We'll give you light gray. How about that? Anthony Rendon, bro.
I think we should speak on him at the same amount of time he's actually played. All right, let's move on.
Oh my God! What a.
There's really nothing else to. There's just nothing to say.
You know what's great? It looked like that 1, 2, or that 2, 3, 4 of like Trout, Rendon, Ohtani was gonna be like stupid good. And it actually, and in 2020, it looked like it too, because he was really good in 2020.
Rendon from 17 to 19 was. You had an argument he was the best third baseman in the league.
He was in those combos. There was the combos. It was like him, Matt Chapman, Arenado. You know, like those were some of the guys that were up there. And a lot of people would have taken Rendon 1, and I can't really blame them. You know me, I was a Matt Chapman.
I was always a Chapman guy.
I was a Chapman truther to my fucking grave.
When we traded for him, I was so happy because I always loved them.
Oh, I fucking was. You know what's crazy? I was going through some Google Doc stuff, and I found some like potential like after the 2021 season, like what could the Jays do in the offseason? And I was like, what about potential trade targets? And I was like, Matt Chapman, maybe? And then they ended up doing it like 4 months later, and I was like, shit.
We got him for like nothing, which is funny.
They didn't really do anything. Yeah, they got him for like 2 years of control, didn't really give up anything. I was like, yo, wait, listen, tap into the vision. I was on that shit in November, and they got him in March. Tap in. But yeah, like, there was a very solid argument for this time that Anthony Rendon was the top third baseman in baseball. I don't really think many people would have looked at you too crazy if you said that. And a lot of people, I think Nick even held that opinion too. And like it was a thing. And then he wasn't. So, you know, it is what it is, unfortunately. This is such an unfortunate signing too. Because like, how could you have seen this coming? You know?
Yeah. You
just couldn't. So it's kind of tough. A-Rod, 10 years, $275. This was inked in, 2007? This is an extension. So this is a lot more like his later Yankees years. Where do you want to put this? What are you thinking?
Because, okay, so this is strictly based off this contract, meaning what he did before it doesn't count. So this is 2008 and onwards, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, from 2008 and onwards, I wouldn't, like, I would probably say, like, I don't know.
Like,
I want to say B or C. I don't think it's a D.
No, it's not D, because he definitely had a few years in there where he was, like, still really productive, but there was also, like, the tail end of the contract, like, people were, like, it was viewed as, like, a...
Like, the first 2 years of it, 08, 09, was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, and even after that, he was still, like, fine for a bit, but it wasn't...
Well, yes, and his production's also probably better than Machado's even then.
But it's
I would
also...
say B, probably,
yeah,
maybe...
I think it's, like, below Machado, I think. But... it's not, because this is like post MVP A-Rod, and this is
maybe
like
same level even, but it's definitely.
I put him in the same. It's like low B, high C, I think.
Yes.
Because there was a point in this contract. No, granted, Machado could end up getting there eventually. But there was there was a bit in this contract where A-Rod was just washed. You know what I mean? 2015, I guess not as much because he kind of like had a weird bounce back year. But the 2016, which granted, I guess that was the second to last year of it, I think. And then 2017, I think they just fully were paying him, but they just cut him. But that was like, he was cooked. He was fully cooked by that point. 2017, he was not on the roster, and he was still technically under contract, I think. But
yeah,
I think we'll put it there for now because he definitely still had some
That's
years.
valid.
Maybe we move it down to C later, but we'll leave it there for now. Max Scherzer, 7 years, 210, Washington. Which tier is this going in? Which tier is this going in? Which one?
I would probably say S.
S. Yeah.
I mean, that's
I can fuck with that.
million.
I can
not
fuck with
like
that.
If it was like 300, I'd say maybe A. But the
True.
fact that it's 210.
Yeah, you're getting him. You low key like the contract kind of lined up perfectly because it's not like a lot of current contracts where they go until a guy's in his late 30s. They got off of it when what was he 36 when the contract ended? Something like that, 37.
Oh yeah, about that.
Whatever he
36,
was,
I think
36, which isn't too bad to actually get off a contract like this.
I mean, you put it an extra year or two, or like another 2 years. If it's a 9-year deal, then it's really aging poorly at the end of it. So it's kind of like,
so it's kind of like
they got out at the right time.
It's kind of perfect term. You know what I mean?
Yes.
For a contract like this, and you fucking got all the best years. His best years are all in a Nationals uniform, and I don't really think many people are going to argue with you about that.
No.
They also won a World Series with him, so that obviously, I think honestly, even without the World Series, it's still an S tier contract. But with that as well, it's kind of just like it makes it kind of a no discussion. I think. You know what I mean?
Now
I say that as I hovered A and S, but
now I think we should skip to his counterpart instead of just going in order.
This is a $245 million thank you.
My thing is it fair to put it in LOL as well?
You know what? Okay, you can like argue that it's not as bad because this was essentially just like a thank you letter. This is what this is. It's a $245 million thank you letter.
Yes, a 7 ERA thank you letter.
Like a 30-inning thank you letter. But at the same time,
I'll say F then in that case.
I'll go F because I don't think you can quite put it Rendon because okay, to be fair, I think
I have an idea then.
What?
Add a new tier, LOL, and then in all caps, LMAO as Rendon.
Here, we'll do this.
Just add one below just add one below.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Below
Here,
that one.
you're right. Let me scrap this. LMAO. Here, LMAO.
Make it white. It doesn't even get a color.
It doesn't get a color.
The one on the far right. Yeah.
Oh, this is the most I'm gonna go. So LMAO. We'll do LMFAO just to really
for the couple O's.
Just to really get it in there.
Yeah.
We'll do this. There you go.
Perfect.
Oh my god. What a thing here. Let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, so I had to zoom in a little bit. But yeah, like at the end of the day, like I don't think Nationals fans are gonna go like too crazy about this contract because like you know it was a guy they won
after the World Series too. It's like whatever.
Like it's what it is. It was a thank you note. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Corey Seager 10 325.
Personally, I think like a 3-year like $100 million would have been better.
Yeah, that would have been a good thank you note. Yeah. I don't think you needed to give him $245 million, respectfully. No. But you know what? It is what it is, I guess.
I was thinking about putting the Simeon one in there too, but I think Seager's fine.
Yeah, we'll do the Seager. I don't know about you.
I think Seager.
I don't know about you. I did not expect him to get this amount of money when this offseason happened.
No, but
when I saw this, I was like,
you could
argue
fuck. It's an A.
Honestly, yeah, he's been a demon so far for them. When this offseason was happening, and I saw this get when whoever broke this, I don't know if it was Passan or who broke it, but I was like, fuck, he got 10 years? Holy shit. I was flabbergasted. This, I think, it's probably an A. I was going to say maybe it's like high B. No, it's A tier. It's an A tier deal.
Yeah. Maybe
it's high B, but it's probably A. It's probably A. I don't really have much to say about this one. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Juan Soto, do we have to talk about this one much, or?
No, I don't think so.
This is obviously it's the biggest contract in baseball history.
Okay, but now I have a question.
What?
Does biggest mean it's an S, or would that mean it's also an A, but like really high A?
This is also, to be fair, this is like probably the safest free agent signing like ever.
That's what. But like, another thing is, it's 15 years, and we don't know how it could age. Like, obviously, it looks good now, but he's making like 50 plus a year.
This is fair.
And yes, the talent, like, he's not, it's not like he's overperforming his contract, because, like, it's hard to do. I just personally don't think it's not the same value that the other ones have. It's more so just great player on a big contract, which is why I'm leaning towards like the highest part of A.
What I would argue is I think that Juan Soto, barring like a significant injury, is like kind of age proof. Because he doesn't like rely on like super crazy bat speed. He is the smartest hitter in baseball probably. He has the best swing decisions. That's not something that's ever going to go with age. I don't think his power is going to go anywhere. I genuinely don't see his offense, even through the very end of the contract, going anywhere. Obviously, I'm sure you see some decline to an extent because Father Time just gets everybody. But I genuinely can't see it.
It's just more so the fact that it's not like, it's a great signing, incredible signing, but in terms of contract, it could be an S. I have it low S, high A. I don't have it like where it's obviously better than the guys ahead of it.
Okay.
But it's also like you get what I'm saying. Right?
I hear what you're saying because it's like it is the biggest contract in baseball history, so inherently it's not going to be the same value as like Judge on half the total value. Or
I think Judge is objectively the best contract on here, though.
I think so too because like he's a 10-win player and he's like 40 million AAV. I think that was a record when he signed. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if the total value... Actually, now I'm looking at it, I think the total value was the highest. Because I don't think anyone had hit 400 yet. Actually, if you count Trout's thing as 425. Although, I think that counted his current... Whatever. I get what you're saying with Soto, though. But I legitimately think that, like... Also, another thing that we need to think about is if he is making what's this equivalent to? That's equivalent to $51 million a year right now.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the same thing in 6 years as it is now. We've seen just how quickly Harper's record-setting 330 turned into this, right? Yeah. Like, this was February 2019.
How about this? As of this moment that we're recording the podcast, it's a high A, but it will most likely be S in a couple of years as it ages.
Okay.
Is that like a fair thing
to
say?
Sure. We'll stick with that. Yeah, because like think about like Harper's thing right now. Like this was 6.5 years ago. The value has doubled since then. I'm not saying that we're going to see a $1.5 billion contract in like 7 years. Because that also again requires like you have to be really young hitting free agency. But I also don't think that like even if you see a $1 billion contract by then you're going to see higher AAVs, you're going to see more 40s and 50s being normalized among the elite players of the league. I don't think that Soto's is going to look really that crazy. It looks crazy now because we've never seen it, just like Harper's kind of did when he signed it, but you know, I think it's a similar thing. Trey Turner, 11 years, 300 with the Philadelphia Phillies. I think it is weird because there's things that you look with Trey Turner and you're like, oh, that's going to go eventually. Like, you know, the speed's not always going to be there. Not very long ago, he looked cooked.
But then 32, at 32 years old, he had his best defensive season.
That is the other thing. He randomly turns into weird. Like an elite defensive shortstop at age 32. Like, how the fuck does that happen? After being like a negative for like a long time, it's really weird. I personally think that this goes in the top of B.
I would agree it's a B for sure.
Because so far he's been a little on and off. He's like obviously he was elite this year. He's had some years up and down, and at the same time, I think it's a little interesting the term and the total. I think it's a high B. I think it very well might end up being an A tier by the end of it, or maybe lower or higher. Who knows? That's where I currently think it sits. Bobby Witt Jr. Holy fuck, this is fucking finesse of a deal, bro.
Yeah, that's an LMFAO, but instead of for the contracts, it's for the Royals.
It's the reverse LMFAO.
Or not the Royals. For Bobby Witt Jr. himself, it's LMFAO because he could have made way more.
Honestly, you're right. He could have got more in this deal.
If he hits the open market next year,
he's getting 500 easy.
What is?
Oh, he's easy cracking 500. Probably more than that. Hold on. How old is he now?
I would argue more. He's 25.
Oh no, I'm saying he 500 is easy. He probably hits. Oh, he's only fuck for some reason. Okay, wait. Let me look at this. I need to see this in front of me to visualize this, because honestly, if he's 20,
I could argue 650.
If he's 25, he genuinely might hit 700 as well. He might be another $700 million player because he's still an elite offensive shortstop. Even if some people would look at his bat this year and they would say it's underwhelming or whatever. I've seen it been said, just because he wasn't a fucking 11-win player last year. This is
it took a step down compared to last year, but it was still incredible.
Yeah, it's a down year compared to the year before, and he was a fucking 8-win player. That's stupid. That's ridiculous.
He's accumulated 26.7 F4.
This is he's already on his way to being one of the best shortstops to ever play. Already his 2024 is on the very short list of best shortstop seasons ever. And when you look at a lot of all-time great shortstops, it's better than Cal Ripken's best season probably. I don't actually know that off the top of my head, but probably. It's fucking flies miles past Derek Jeter's best season. You look at a guy on here, it's miles ahead of Lindor's or Seager's best season. I guess this isn't on the all same level as those guys, but a more recent guys a Troy Tulowitzki, he fucking blows Tulowitzki's best season out of the water. You're looking at guys like Honus Wagner that he's in company with. Genuinely, he's on pace to being one of the best shortstops to ever play the game. And they got him at less than $300 million in this economy? Oh my god. Listen, you know what? No, you're right. This is LMFAO, but for the other way around. If he's on the open market right now,
I'm giving it an S, obviously, though, but yeah.
It's LMFAO, but the other way around. No, I'm kidding. SG.
Yeah.
No, if he hits the open market right now, he probably gets 700.
Are we ordering it or no?
We'll order it after. We'll order it after, I think. If he hits the open market right now, he's cracking 650 easy, I think. Or sorry, he's easy cracking 600 in his sleep, right?
Yeah.
Probably 650. Honestly, good chance even 700. There's an outside... you know what? I was going to say outside shot. He might even pass the Soto deal because he's a year younger.
And plays shortstop
he plays shortstop, is an elite defender there.
Going to be a DH.
Soto got that off of not being a good defensive player, albeit he's one of the best offensive players we've seen since Ted Williams. But Bobby Witt Jr. is already an elite offensive player. He's a 135 WRC+ bat this past year. What was he? 130 WRC+ bat. Is the best defensive, or one of the best defensive players in baseball. He's insane. He's absolutely insane. So I don't really think that there's an argument for anything less than S. I think that there is a legitimate argument that he's the most or the second most valuable contract on this list. Yeah. Where do we want to go with Yoshinobu Yamamoto? I hope I did not trigger
it's looking like an S.
I hope I didn't trigger any PTSD, but honestly, you might be right. You might be fucking right. Because he also signed this going into his age 25 season. The guy's nasty. He has
and it's one of the things you don't there's more risk value with a guy like Yamamoto compared to a guy like Soto because yes, he was established over in Japan, but we've seen it where there's guys who look like superstars come over again, not at this level, not to this to this extent, but we've seen it where guys don't translate as well or they start slow, but he came in and just started dominating.
Also, inherently, I
And
think
he is
I personally
a top 3
believe
pitcher. So.
I personally believe that signing a pitcher to a big contract like this is a lot riskier than signing a hitter of the same caliber.
Yes.
Because it's a lot easier for a pitcher to have one big arm or elbow or whatever injury, and they're just fucking cooked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can happen with hitters. Like we saw, obviously it's not that he's not nearly the same caliber of hitter that Yamamoto was pitcher, but like Ryan Howard, I think he ruptured his Achilles, and he was his career WAR went down from that point onward. Like he was cooked. I don't think that. Obviously, we're seeing a lot more guys bounce back from stuff like Tommy John. So inherently, I don't think it's quite as bad. But there's, I think, just a lot more risk in signing a pitcher to this kind of deal. And that says a lot for Yamamoto, that it's still an S-tier contract. I believe. And I guess you agree with me, so. Let's order this. I don't know about you.
Whoa, it's like a staircase. It's like it looks symmetrical.
It is like a
almost.
staircase. I don't know about you. This is my top 3.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Because I know Ohtani's Ohtani, but Bobby Witt is on stupid fucking value. And I understand part of this is like, part of this counts like a pre-arb time and like arb time, which is inherently going to be less than on the open market. But even accounting that, he still should have broken $300 million.
Yeah.
Especially,
that's what I don't get with like people don't understand like I've seen so many Jays fans saying, "Oh, extend Trey already," but why? Like why give him extra money? Like he's going to get his big contract from us eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Why beat up those RBers with a big contract when you can just?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, they would. I mean, that would account for the ARB value. Right?
Well, yeah, but players are saying like to sign them like, yeah, but I've seen like people saying that like that show like the contract they'd sign, it's like ridiculous.
Okay,
like,
well, if he's if you're
them, like,
if you're giving $25 million AAV already right now, that's just ridiculous.
Yes, like I've seen 20 plus like those people wanted to give him AAV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when I was talking about Bobby,
I know what
like,
you're saying.
Taking into account, when I was talking about Bobby, I meant like taking into account like pre-ARB and ARB values. He still should have broken 300.
Yes, no, I agree, but I'm saying like it just reminded me that like fans like wanted like they got in, and it's like they don't understand how much money you save by.
Yeah.
Depending on the player.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. Yeah, I understand Ohtani, but Witt is on stupid all-time value. How do we want to do these last 3? Harper, Scherzer, and Yamamoto. Because Scherzer's a little interesting how to compare them, because obviously Scherzer's contract's is literally.
I'd say Scherzer is ahead right now.
Do you want to? Yeah, you want to put him here, and then do you want to do Harper or Yamamoto?
I think like that's good.
Like that's good. All right, these guys. Soto was top of A, I think. Pretty easy.
Yes.
I'd put Cole here.
I'd say Cole to then Lindor, I would say.
Yeah, I'd put Lindor ahead just
then probably Vlad and then Seager.
Yeah, I'd put Lindor ahead of Vlad. He's just a more valuable player, a great defense at a more premium position than Vlad, first base. Seager's still really good. He obviously has some injury stuff here and there. He's also just not quite on level of Lindor.
Yeah.
And also Vlad's a lot younger. I think this contract looks better. B tier. I think I want to go like this. I think I like Machado ahead of Trey. And then do you want to go Trey? Or I think how do I think Trey's? What do you want to do? What are you thinking here?
I'd probably say A-Rod.
Say A-Rod. Yeah, because I'm thinking about a lot of the things that Trey's good at, and I don't think a lot of them are going to age pretty well in the back half of the deal. Even taking into account that the end of the deal that A-Rod wasn't very good, I still think it'll be more valuable than what Trey's back end will be.
Yeah.
These I'm fine leaving as is, and then these are already tiered, so it is what it is. Okay, that's our tier list, and that is by far the longest episode in Down the Line podcast history, but we stuck through it.
Yeah.
Good fucking job. As always, to everyone listening, if you stuck through the full almost 4 hours, we salute you. Thank you for listening. if you fast forwarded to the end, still thank you for listening, even for the last couple of minutes or however long you're here for. Thank you again. Anything is everything. Thank you for joining us so far this offseason. We hope you enjoyed our little breakdown of the free agents, the trade market. We hope you enjoyed our tier list. It was some fun to do. We like doing fun stuff like this. So, yeah, we will be back next week. Tonight, MVP stuff got announced. So next week, me and Ethan are going to do our own award show. We're going to do all the major awards, see what was right, what was wrong. We're going to do our own stuff. So, yeah, we will see you guys then. Ethan, you want to say anything to them before they leave?
Baseball.
Baseball, boys and girls. All right. It's been real. Peace out. We'll see you later.